It's no big deal.
I know, but I'll be able to chill until the coughing fit comes, and then I won't be able to.
Oh, okay. I got you. Well, you can hang around as long as you want to now you're here.
Right. Until I start hacking in the microphone, and then that's just kind of jacked up.
I should probably turn down the music before I get a YouTube hit. And do my usual, I guess, description for anybody watching the replays. If you've never seen the show, we go out live on the radio. We're a local station based right here in lovely Conyers, Georgia. Yeah. And so we go out live on the radio as well as streaming to YouTube. So we have sponsors and we play music. So we take breaks on the radio. And we will stay with you on YouTube throughout the breaks. However, you will not hear any of the music because, you know, you pay your ASCAP fees. Still can't play it on YouTube. Still get hit with a copyright violation. So that's what happens here. Danielle, you can hear me okay?
I can hear you just fine.
Okay, everyone appears to be coming through properly.
Hey, can you fix the screen so I can look at her instead of my Guatemalaness?
It switches over automatically when
Which when I talk.
Okay, well, I need you to do quite a bit of talking. Hey, guess what? I started the Fin 2 weeks ago today, as a matter of fact.
What's that?
The Phentermine, the diet pills.
Oh, I was going to say, have you lost weight?
I feel like I have.
You definitely have in your face.
You think?
Yeah.
I haven't weighed in yet, but
yeah, you definitely have in your face, which means you probably have overall.
Well, whenever we go on break and step away from this camera, I'll show you my caboose and you see if maybe that's smaller.
Okay. So I need my iPad for my notes. Else we're not getting anywhere. So everybody obviously knows that Antonin Scalia passed.
And that was a Supreme Court justice that was suffocated by a pillow or something?
Or poisoned. He might have been poisoned.
May have been poisoned. Did you see my post on Facebook? I said the Clintons have a history of murdering pretty much everyone.
Right.
And Scalia shows up with a pillow over his face. Coincidence?
Yeah, that's why I thought that. Yeah. I mean, you are kind of the news anchor. If there's something going on politically,
well, obviously,
I'm gonna read that.
Obviously, I was being facetious. There's some, I don't know. You walk in, you find a Supreme Court justice with a pillow over his head. Don't you think you would want to investigate it and perform an autopsy and see what happened?
One would think, but I mean, in all fairness, I've slept with a pillow over my face before. You know, like if it was too dark in the room,
yeah, too light
in the
too
room,
noisy.
or
no,
whatever.
I mean there could be a number of valid reasons for him to have a pillow over his face. But
was he alone?
Again, when you find a Supreme Court justice dead in bed with a pillow over his face,
it does sound odd.
And then you deny an autopsy.
Why did they deny an autopsy? Did the man not have a wife?
You got me. No, you kidding me? He's a wife. I think 8 or 9 kids, like 40 or 50 grandkids. Big old family.
Okay, so you know, I appreciate the fact that he's a judge or whatever, but being a husband and a father, doesn't that come
This
first?
is us. It skipped that last song, by the way. We're going live now. All right, so that was weird. I had a song queued up, and it decided to skip it. Good evening, everybody. It's Tuesday night, 7 o'clock. Actually, we're a little bit early by the looks of it. Sorry. Tech Talk, I'm Alex. In the studio, I have Jenny. Say hi, Jen.
Hi, Jen.
I don't know how long Jen's going to be here. She had a vaping emergency and had to run in for me to build a new coil for her on her new K-Fun. And as always, in Google on the Hangout, the ever cat-eared Danielle.
Hello.
You set a trend with those headphones, by the way. You got those, shortly after Christmas?
Before Christmas.
Before Christmas, sorry. And started wearing them on the show. Well, this year, these things are being featured on all of the tech blogs. Danielle set a trend.
That's
See?
awesome.
Yeah. Yeah.
I
set
think she
trends.
got them the day she came to the house, or maybe that was the first time she showed them to you or something. I don't know.
That was the first time I'd seen them. Was that day there? Oh, they're awesome, and their little speakers. We talk about them all the time on this show.
We do talk about them a lot.
Yeah, we're kind of fascinated with them. It's
Yeah.
Well,
embarrassing.
they are fascinating.
Yeah. All right. So I just opened my show notes. I was expecting another song to be playing, and of course that didn't happen.
Scotty saw Duran Duran was coming and he hijacked the system. That's what happened.
Yeah. Well, I need to get with him because a number of these songs, for some reason, are being skipped over. I like to play Bohemian Rhapsody. Keith, and by the way, Keith just joined us on Google on the Hangout.
Hi, Keith.
Good evening.
Aw.
Here he is.
I was just muting my YouTube so that I wasn't getting odd feedback.
Okay.
Dude, it's been a long time. It's great to see your face.
Yes. How are you, Jenny?
I'm doing good.
All right, so let's start with something important. Obviously, Justice Antonin Scalia passed away, which leaves a gaping hole on the Supreme Court. From my point of view, anyway, a staunch supporter of the Second Amendment. I'm a gun carrier, train, and I love everything about the Second Amendment. Some maybe shady circumstances found with a pillow over his face, and now they're not going to have an autopsy. I guess that's the family's choice. It's up to them whether they have an autopsy. But when you're talking about a Supreme Court justice, I don't know. It seems like maybe you should.
I don't know, man. If my dad or my husband showed up dead with a pillow on their face, I think I'd be voting for an autopsy.
Mm-hmm. Yep, I was being purely facetious on Facebook earlier when I said that the Clintons have a history of murdering pretty much everyone, and now Scalia turns up dead smothered by a pillow, so...
You were facetious?
Coincidence? Yeah, no, obviously it was facetious. We know where Hillary was.
Sitting on the pillow?
Yeah, and we know where Bill was. In Monica's dorm room.
Oh, boy.
All right, so anyway,
He was sitting at a desk.
Yeah. So Scalia was the author of the Heller decision. The Heller decision was the court case that went to the Supreme Court that solidified an individual's right to own a gun. And, you know, the Second Amendment in the... Oh, okay, sorry. Oh, my mother's watching. Hello, Mom.
Oh, my God.
Hi, Mom.
Yeah. Hello, Mother.
Hello, Mom.
Scalia authored the Heller decision, which I'm repeating myself now, which solidified the individual right to keep and bear arms. He also was crucial in the McDonald decision, which overturned D.C.'s gun ban, or at least their ban on concealed carry, and gave everybody the right to carry a gun in Washington, or not the right, but told the city you have to allow people to. Now, of course, the city came up with some draconian hoops to jump through in order to carry a gun, which is back in the court now, by the way. So it leaves a massive hole in the court. We have, obviously, Barack Obama as president, a Democrat. Now, of course, the Republicans are saying we won't consider any nominee this year, and they're entitled to do that. The president, though, has a constitutional duty to put forward nominees, which he will, and I'm hoping he does, because in this election year, I think it's important for every voter to know what the future will hold, and if he puts up radical left-wing judges, then we know what the ramifications of that will be on the Second Amendment. Heller will be overturned. The lower courts are already dismantling Heller. They're not honoring the intent of the Supreme Court. They're dismantling that decision piece by piece, which means it will end up back at the Supreme Court, which right now would end probably in a 4-4 split. and so we would have the status quo. But if we get one more liberal judge on the court, they will overturn Heller. They will overturn McDonald. They will, in overturning Heller, they will probably affirm the militia aspect, and the militia only, I should say, part aspect of the Second Amendment, and we will lose the right to own a gun as an individual, which means you've lost your guns. The Second Amendment will remain intact, but it will apply only if, for example, you're serving in the National Guard and with your National Guard issued rifle.
Or in your local Crips group, or the Bloods, or whoever.
Well, they obviously, criminals will always get guns.
Exactly.
It doesn't matter what the law says or what the Constitution says. A criminal will always find a way to get a weapon to commit crime.
Exactly.
It's scary times right
So-
now. If you are a supporter of the Second Amendment, right now is it's actually a fascinating time when you consider what's going to happen now in an election year.
I think
So
it's a little sketchy.
Well, so in 1970, the Democrats controlled the Senate, and they passed a resolution in 1970 that said they will not allow court appointments in an election year, because obviously they were in this same position. And I'm not going to be petty about it. If the roles were reversed, everybody would be acting the same way. If it was a Republican president about to pick a conservative justice, the Democrats would want to filibuster, and they would say there's absolutely no way we're going to take this up in an election year. We know this because they've done it in the past. They did it in 2007. Chuck Schumer said there will be they will not allow recess appointments of judges by President Bush. In 1970, the Democrats passed a Senate resolution that said they will not allow any election year appointments to the court. So, twofold. As of right now, the Senate is in recess. The Supreme Court took up this issue of recently, I'm going to say a few years ago, because, well, they made their decision recently, but a few years ago, while the Senate was in recess for 3 days, Obama made 3 recess appointments to federal court. Of course, the Republicans were up in arms, and it ultimately went to the Supreme Court, and the Supreme Court overturned it, saying that 3 days. Obviously, this is not what they said, but I'm going to say it my way. 3 days does not constitute a recess. They said even up to 10 days may not constitute a recess. And they left a pretty gaping hole in that decision whereby the Senate is pretty much able to say one way or the other whether they are in recess, and they can perform minor acts of legislation throughout the period of recess to claim that they are not recessed, if you see what I'm saying. So now, of course, because the court said even up to 10 days, well, this current recess is 10 days. So Democrats are saying that on the 10th day, the president, or now that it's a 10-day span, the president can make a recess appointment. The White House have said the president will not do that, and the GOP can easily avoid this just by introducing one simple piece of minor legislation or one resolution in the Senate while nobody's there. And here's what I suggest to Leader McConnell. I said this to Mitch on Twitter. Take the exact language from 1970, the exact language that the Democrats used, swap the names, and pass that resolution this week, which will disallow any appointment to the court in an election year and will negate this 10-day recess process that they're currently in. And that's what the GOP should be doing. If they don't do that this week, they are stupid, and it says to me they're not going to put up a fight about this, which means I believe we will have a liberal justice by the end of this year. What does everyone think about that?
Really?
That much, huh?
I think that all of them on both sides are completely shady. I hate all of them. I think that they're all out for their own agenda. Everybody's scratching everybody else's back, and I don't think any single one of them is trustworthy for anything at all. That's what I think about the whole thing. From the dude being killed, to the pillow on his face, to the coincidental time frame, to, Donald Trump being a registered train wreck. Christ.
Actually, the first comment was, "Oh, sweet, Jen's on the show."
Oh, who is that?
Oh, that was that's Jacob.
Oh, hi, Jacob.
Anyway, sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off there. You were mid-flow.
Mid-rant.
Yeah.
I also think it's oddly coincidental that, all this stuff is going on with Hillary, so, it seems to be pushed under the rug. And then Donald Trump, who has been a registered Democrat for how long did you say?
Pretty much his whole life until the last. Well, he was a registered Democrat, then he was independent 2 years ago, and a Republican for the last year.
Yeah, and then now he's like trying to run for president or whatever. I just think it's all just a bunch of shady BS.
Yeah. This I believe makes the presidential race even more critical to people on my side of the fence, the GOP, Republicans, anyone that respects the Constitution. We know what happens when nations take away guns. You see the first step as disarmament, and then you can sit back and watch every other right erode away after the fact. Look at Australia and England, for example. Since their gun bans, their crime rates have increased, incarcerations have decreased, and yet you have people being put in jail for things they say on Twitter. They now have hate speech laws, right? Which, okay, I imagine some things could be considered hate speech, but some of the ridiculousness that people are being imprisoned for, it baffles my imagination. I mean, the stuff I say on Twitter, I would have been in jail years ago. But we're protected. We have the First Amendment to protect us. As long as I'm not making threats or being inciting people to riot or anything like that, I can have an opinion about whatever I want. I think Donald Trump is an absolute prick, and I'm free to say that. However,
you're also free to be sitting there with a gun on your hip at this moment, but that's subject to change.
Exactly.
So what makes you think that the first one's not subject to change?
And that's the problem. It will change. We have a bill in the Georgia Assembly which has been nicknamed the gag bill because it puts severe restrictions on speech. You won't be allowed, effectively, you won't be allowed. Here's what it does. Any organization or group that contributes to a politician will have to provide a list of all of its donors or supporters, their names, personal information, addresses, and things like that. This goes even for comments on Facebook. So, let's say the Georgia Smoke Free Association, who I will get to momentarily, actually, because I got some big news about next week. But let's say I go onto their Facebook page and I openly support them. Under the gag rule, they will have to provide my personal information to the government because I said something in support of their organization. Well, that's an absolute violation of my First Amendment rights and my privacy, my Fourth Amendment rights. And this is currently in the Georgia legislature. If you haven't contacted your senators and Georgia representatives, congressmen about that, you're insane, because it is the biggest assault on free speech that I've ever seen in this country, and it's happening right here in Georgia.
Well, the frightening thing to me about that is, how does the general public not know that this is even going on?
Because people rarely pay attention to local politics. Everybody's paying attention to the national race. They want to know, what's Donald going to call Jeb Bush this week? Last week it was a pussy. What's he going to call him this time? That's all people care about right now.
So do you think that that's contrived? they are intentionally trying to pass this stuff on the lower level while they know that everyone has their attention focused on a national level.
Oh, that's exactly what they do. Of course they do. Now, obviously, there are people that do pay attention to this, and it is being opposed very strongly in the legislature here, as is House Bill 907, which we'll get to after the break, which we're coming up on real quick. But going back to my point, Scalia, a staunch defender of the Second Amendment, a staunch constitutionalist. They consider him a originalist because in all of his decisions he insisted that the law be weighed in accordance with the Constitution based on its original intent. So he was a scholar of the original writings of the framers, Hamilton and Madison and those guys, and he was an absolute expert on what their intent was for every one of the Bill of Rights. And it's very clear, to me anyway, obviously to people on the left, they have a different opinion, but it's very clear to me that reading the Federalist Papers and reading Madison's writings, that a well-regulated militia, all that meant was well-trained, well-equipped, and ready to go. It didn't mean government regulation back then. It didn't mean it didn't mean restrictions back then. It meant prepared, and people were equipped properly, and that if somebody supplied a barrel, that barrel would shoot straight and true for every soldier. That's what it meant by well regulated. Now, of course, people on the left will disagree with me about that, as they are free to, but right now Heller is the law of the land, and I hope that's the case, because I'll tell you this, they come after Heller, we're going after Roe versus Wade, and that's just going to be a big old war. Keith is upside down. I'm going to take a break and give him an opportunity to right himself. We'll be back after a few messages from our sponsors and a couple of songs. I am going to try and play Bohemian Rhapsody again, but it keeps skipping, Scott. You may need to come down and take a look at this at some point.
Hey, what about my boyfriend? I thought we were going to get to hear him.
It skipped him also. I'll try to queue up another.
Mm-hmm.
We'll be back in a few. Skipped him also. I'm going to try another song. Try this. Because I'm pretty sure it's going to skip Bohemian Rhapsody like it's a corrupt file or something. I don't know. Well, you two didn't have anything to say about Scalia, huh?
Yeah, the only thing I really had to say was I kind of looked at some of the articles about his actual death, and I guess the local police that came out to investigate, they kind of said, oh, it looks like it's natural causes. And then they contacted his physician, or a physician, and that guy said something to the effect that it doesn't surprise me with the way he's been, kind of his lifestyle as far as eating and exercising and that sort of thing. And it all just seemed very, very sketchy.
Yeah. Yeah. I believe there should be an autopsy. I hate to trample on a family's rights like that, but we're talking about a Supreme Court justice. Something doesn't seem entirely right.
Well, and it's just a particularly odd time as well.
And as we're dealing with, we're not talking about an elected official, we're talking about a lifetime appointed position, and if there's anything shady about this is something we have a right to know about, and we should be able to say, no, we're having an autopsy.
Well, honestly, with all due respect, to hell with us, what about his family? What about his wife and his children? Those are the people that have a right to know.
Yeah, but isn't it,
more so.
Keith, isn't it his family who have said they don't want an autopsy?
That I'm not sure. I didn't get that far, so.
What about you, Danny? You're a gun owner. What do you think about Scalia passing?
Scalia wrote some opinions that I didn't agree with. I mean, I agreed with his stand on gun ownership, obviously, but he was very anti-marriage equality.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't agree with everything Scalia
Yeah.
did. He was very
I think-
anti-gay marriage.
Yeah. So
He was a firm believer that marriage is between a man and a woman.
Well, he was
Right.
old, dude. Right?
Right. However, it didn't matter in the end because, the court, again, in a 5-4 decision, when it was John Roberts, I think, that flipped over to the other side, they upheld marriage equality.
right, but I think he wrote the opposition on it.
He did.
Yeah.
Wrote the
So
dissent, and it was actually it was a very, very well written, and again, but based
course.
purely on the intent of the Constitution. It did. It skipped that song again, Jen. Sorry.
But yeah, so I mean, my thoughts on his passing, I agreed. I mean, I think, the same can probably be said for the written opinions of most, if not all, of the Supreme Court justices, is that, you agree with some of what they did and you don't agree with other stuff that they did. And
Exactly.
I mean,
I think it's a real loss. I think we've lost the only man on the court that. I shouldn't say this. I was going to say the only man that truly understood the Constitution. Well, that's obviously not true. Let me say he was the only man that truly appreciated the intent of the framers. And now I think we're left with people that do fully believe the Constitution is a living, breathing
document. Yep.
And Rubio was mocked for saying it's not a living, breathing document. He did go on. Now everybody leaves this part out. His very next sentence was, it should be interpreted based on its original intent, and I fully agree with that. I know times change, and I know technology is different, and things have moved on. We've evolved, technologically and probably a little bit physically, to be honest with you. I know women's brains are getting smaller and smaller.
Really?
They are. That's a fact. Anyway,
That's not a fact.
it is a fact, and it's because y'all are becoming more efficient. That is actually a fact. Go look it up.
For a moron.
But wait, whoa.
Have
wait.
you not seen Danielle's head?
Where did you find this so-called factoid?
I'm going to look it up, and I'll bring it up on the screen.
He found it on alexmcdonald.com.
Thank you.
That's a hand model.
This is exactly why Stephen refers to them as tiny little women brains.
Oh, well, figure.
Have you read The Mismeasure of Man by Stephen Jay Gould?
No, I have not.
Okay, you need to.
Here we go. Female brains are smaller than brains. Smaller than male brains, I should say. They're not obviously not.
Whoa, back up, Jackson.
Right.
That's not what you said. You said
Yeah,
women's
no,
brains
I
are
did.
getting
I did.
smaller.
However, I think you'll find in this article that it will say they're getting smaller, and that our brains are actually shrinking. But they are shrinking across the board, by the way. But you do have smaller brains.
Are you sending me that link?
I'm going to bring it up on the screen. 8% smaller on average than the male brain.
Okay, but body mass-wise, what's the ratio of male to female size?
I need little women brains.
Oh, look at this one right here. Says women brain smaller, but use more
Little
efficient.
women
Right.
brains.
This
Hang
is
on,
what I said,
wait.
is because y'all are more efficient.
Wait a minute. What's the ratio of average size
Here
of...
we go. Discover magazine. Why our brains are
I'll
shrinking.
just sit here and look pretty till y'all are ready for me to
Let
talk.
the woman speak.
What is she? What are you asking?
Are you ready for me to talk?
Yeah, go on. You have a song.
Are you sure?
Yeah, you have an entire 3 minutes. Go.
I'll just sit here and wait till you're ready. Are you ready?
I'm ready.
What's
Yeah.
the difference in size between, what's the ratio of size from the average male to female?
No idea.
Okay, so how does that statement even make sense?
Well, no, I do know. They are on average 8% smaller. The average.
Body mass percentage?
Oh, I mean, they're 8% smaller. So yeah, I assume it's
Because
related. body mass.
guarantee Andre the Giant's brain was bigger than mine, but the fucker's a lot bigger than me.
Yeah, I mean, they would have taken
So-
the average woman and the average man and compared their brain sizes.
Okay,
And-
so
and
what's
come
the
up-
difference in the size of the people they're comparing?
And here's an article on your screen right now. If modern humans are so smart, why are our brains shrinking? This is Discover magazine.
Well, it's not just women's brains; it's everybody's brains.
Yeah, but women's brains are obviously shrinking proportionally faster to men.
I still
Well,
want
I
to see
believe
the
they're
article
always-
about women's
sure
brains
they're-
being smaller.
I'm pretty sure they're always going to be 8% smaller than men's brains.
It's because
your-
women are smaller than men. Our hearts are probably smaller too, and our livers and our pancreases and our poop shoots.
I know your livers are like 4/5 the size of a man's liver.
My God, my liver's probably a third the size of yours. So shut up, bitches.
Wait, that's
Cheers.
Cheers.
okay. Here we go.
I can't even drink. I'm gonna...
So this is what I said. Women have smaller brains, but they're used more efficiently. Is exactly what I said. And
Bullshit. You said women's brains are getting smaller.
okay, but they're more efficient, and they are. They are.
Female is
However,
different.
okay, no. How is what I said wrong? All of our
Alex did one of those.
It's a
one of those
completely different
standard
statement.
headline.
all of our brains are getting smaller. Women's are smaller than men's, but women's are used more efficiently than men's.
But
And
women
that
are
probably-
smaller than men.
That probably explains why they are smaller. More
Alex did one
less
of those
energy-
headline
less
things
energy
where
needed to,
you say women's brains are smaller than
Yes.
before. Then you pause and say,
Yeah.
but they're more efficient. It's a headline.
reading this.
grabber.
You're reading this, Danielle.
Am I reading what? I have nothing to read. I don't know what I'm supposed to
On
be
the
seeing.
screen?
No, we
What I
don't have
see on
anything
the
on
screen
the
is your big
We're just
fucking
seeing
head.
you.
Oh, okay. Well, this isn't working then.
Because I asked you to send me the link, and you didn't do it.
Okay, well, you're supposed to be seeing this on the screen, and obviously that's not
And
working.
who's the one with the big brain?
Thank you.
Hey, listen, I've already said I'm terrible at this. We know
What's here?
that.
I'll just Google the article. What's the article?
This is at the Washington Times. It's women's brains smaller than men's, but used more efficiently. We're
think-
going live. All right, everybody, we're going back live in 3, 2, 1, and well. All right, we're back, and we're in a massive fight over here right
I think
now.
Alex is an
important
idiot.
part of this right here is, but used more effectively.
Efficiently.
I'm sorry. And there you go.
Yeah.
No, the important part is this. The statistics in this is horse shit because men are bigger than women, so of course their brains are bigger.
Well, you
Brain
know,
size is meaningless.
Okay.
Sorry. State the argument, and then I'll go ahead and refute it.
I did state the argument. Okay, here's what I said. Women's brains are shrinking and are smaller than men's, or something like. Oh, but used more efficiently and are small. What did I say, Jen?
Tiny little woman brain.
Tiny little woman brain.
You say it all the time.
Your tiny little woman brain. But no, it's a fact. Women's brains across the board are 8% smaller than men's. They are used more efficiently than men's, which probably explains a lot of the size difference, by the way, because it requires less energy to feed your brain, and you don't need all that extra mass using up energy when your brain can be smaller and more efficient. And all of our brains are shrinking across the board. So what I said was factually correct. Danielle just wants to fight about it because she doesn't
Did you
like
read this
small
article?
Which one?
The one you're talking about.
I skimmed it.
None of that is in this article. This is all about the size of the hippocampus.
Yes. It was 2 articles. I had them up on the screen. For some reason, I'm using the wrong camera software. I thought you could see it on the screen. You
I
couldn't.
have it in front of me.
I'll send you links after the show.
I
Anyway,
Googled it. I'm
I
reading
just
it.
want to say that in 30 years or whatever, I've never seen this man flustered, and he is like off his track here. He's
right.
sending the wrong link,
Listen,
losing his argument,
here's the
and
thing.
all
It's
disheveled.
a sarcastic comment.
Then you just got your ass handed to you
Well,
by a tiny little woman.
well,
brain.
no, I didn't. I mean,
Okay.
everything I said was factually correct. Then, y'all too obviously have tiny little women brains. However, they're more efficient than my brain. So there you go.
You know, the other thing that I was thinking about is that if we only use 10% of our brain anyway, who really gives a shit how big it is?
I know. And intelligence wasn't even brought into it. Danielle, I know, is remarkably intelligent. You're an intelligent girl. I would never insult either of your intelligence. And it's
That's funny.
it's just a commentary on brain size. That's it. Pure and plain and simple. I have bigger hands.
You know, Squirt weighs...
Doesn't really mean anything.
Squirt has... he weighs about 1,400 pounds. Registered quarter horse. Humongous gelding.
Mhm.
His brain's the size of a walnut.
Yeah, well...
So, I don't...
Well, I
don't
wasn't
know.
talking about, the differences in intelligence between you and a horse, obviously. All right, so that was an absolute disaster. Let's move on.
Moving on.
Is your mom still watching?
I have no idea. She might be. Well done, Danielle, with the
Sorry,
cuss
Mom.
in front of my mom.
With the cussing and all. Sorry, Mom.
You don't care, mom.
I guarantee Mom's still watching.
That's why I don't tell my mom how to watch the show.
Mom's heard me. Well, shit. I grew up cussing. She knows this.
At least he hasn't called either one of us a CUNT yet.
Mm.
What word was that?
A CUNT.
Okay.
So somebody on the chat said, "Put your two fists together. That is your brain size. Smaller hand, smaller brain."
There you go.
Yeah.
And I have bigger hands than you, so my brain's obviously bigger.
Yep.
That's science.
Yes.
Get Scotty down here. He
It's
has
science.
these big old gorilla
And
hands.
now it's on the internet.
Yeah. Scott does have massive monkey hands. He must have the biggest brain of all. Big old gorilla nubs.
And his arms are like flailing all around too.
That's right.
Look at him.
That's right. All right, so let's move on. I'm a vapor. Jen is a vapor. Danielle is not a vapor. Keith is not a vapor. So this will be interesting to half of us. House Bill 907 in Georgia. It's an anti-vaping bill. It is, or was, pretty much an identical bill to the one that passed in Indiana, which, if I'm not mistaken, R.J. Reynolds had a hand in crafting to protect their cigarette business. Now, in Indiana, it passed. And it passed with no problems because the state was not organized. They didn't have representation to fight the bill. The bill got brought up here in Georgia. We have the Georgia Smoke-Free Association in Georgia, which is a chapter of SFATA. These are the guys that represent vape businesses, and it's imperative that vape business in Georgia join the GSFA. Just like any restaurant joins the Restaurant Association or whatever it's called, the Georgia Restaurateurs stuff, these people fight for your rights in the state legislature. And vaping is a hot button issue. There's a lot of misinformation out there about vaping. It's getting to the point where almost a majority of people believe it's more dangerous for you than smoking. And I've noticed a trend lately where when I first started vaping, people would approach me inquisitively about vaping. And they would ask me about it and say, oh, what's that? And how does that work? And, oh, that's great. Nowadays, it's, oh, that's going to kill you. That's worse for you than smoking. And
that's the media.
Yeah, and I know it's not true. We know it's not true. But the message that public health officials in this country are spreading is that it's bad for you, it's going to kill you, and it'll kill you faster than smoking. Well, the Georgia Smoke-Free Association has been working in the legislature here with their lobbying firm. They pay for the lobbying firm, which is why it's imperative that vape shops and business owners become members. And it costs, on average, about $50,000 per legislative session for a lobbyist. So if 50 companies join, it's $1,000 a year to them. If 100 companies join, it's $500 a year to them. That's a day's profit to some of these companies, you know. Some of these companies can open for a day, make $500. They could throw that at the GSFA and protect their rights here in Georgia, but they won't. They don't do it. I spoke to a vape shop last week. I told them what was going on. It was the day of a hearing downtown. The hearing was at 2 p.m. It really got sprung up on us, like the way politicians like to do. They like to throw these things in at the middle of the day so there's the least opposition. I found out about it at midday with 2 hours advance notice. People flew in from out of state. Dimitri, the vaping Greek, he's a big advocate in vaping, and he has his YouTube channel. He's a very, very popular man. He owns restaurants here in Atlanta. And Provino's. Do you know Provino's?
Oh yeah.
I believe it's Provino's. Anyway, I hope to talk to him this week, and I'll clarify that. So he has a vested interest in Georgia because he allows vaping in his restaurants, right? Because he's a big vapor and a big advocate for vaping. Well, he flew in. He got in from Tennessee and was able to get to the hearing, and yet vape shops in Georgia didn't make it. They didn't go. I spoke to one vape shop, and they said they'd heard of it, but weren't able to get to it. I said, well, are you going to join the Georgia Smoke-Free Association? Their response was, oh, we're thinking of doing a fundraiser. Well, you know, it's not up to your customers to protect your business. It's up to you to protect your business. The Georgia Smoke-Free Association doesn't represent consumers. We have Kazaa for that.
What did they want to have the fundraiser for?
Well, I assume to raise money for the Georgia Smoke-Free Association. In other words, let's get our customers to put up the money so we can join, and then put a sticker on our door like we're supporting the cause. Well, that's not supporting the cause. That's putting the onus onto your customers for you to do the right damn thing. Well, I would reverse that. And I would say to every customer out there, every consumer, if you go to a vape shop and they are not a member of the Georgia Smoke-Free Association, you tell them they have a week or whatever, give them a week or a month to join, and then stop going to their store. Because if they're not willing to put their money where their mouth is and join the fight and take it to the legislature to protect their future here in Georgia, then they don't deserve your money. They don't deserve your business because they're not fighting to protect it. Now, I'm a consumer. There's not a great deal I can do in this fight. I've obviously written to my legislature, to my representatives. I've written to both my congressman and senator. And yeah, I've written to my congressman and senator. I have made arrangements for next week on the show for Senator Janice Van Ness to come on, and Bill Thunderbuck, who is I'm going to verify that name, but I believe that's correct, who is the president of the Georgia Smoke-Free Association. And I'm going to get the two of them here across the table so that they can talk and start a dialogue and figure out where we go from here. Because, you know, Janice is a friend of the show, and her and I have discussed vaping. And I told her at the time, I said, Senator, I'm not the expert, but I can get you in touch with the experts. And the GSFA are the experts. So next week, we're going to have those two guests on. I'm going to be asking people all over the country to promote this show, because I want vapors everywhere to watch this or listen and hear what happens when two intelligent people get across the table from each other and are able to work things out, because I know that's what's going to happen. I know it is. Your legislature, your legislators are reasonable people who are being misled and misguided by tobacco and pharmaceutical lobbyists, and all they need is to sit down with the people on the other side of the table to understand what is truly going on so that they can make an educated decision.
So this is Janice and the guy that owns Provino's?
No. That's Dimitri. I'm going to get with Dimitri and ask him to help me promote the show so that we can get as many people watching this as possible. First of all, to let the politicians know that people care about this issue.
Okay,
and,
so it's going to be Janice and who?
The president of the Georgia Smoke-Free Association.
Excellent.
The business representative, the business lobby
and you did
in
that?
Georgia. Yeah, I heard back from Senator Van Ness today.
She's awesome.
And she's on board for next Tuesday, so I called Bill immediately. He said he's on for next Tuesday, and I'm hoping we can do something here. Now, the GSFA has already done some fantastic work. HB 907 has already been stripped from 22 pages down to about 3 pages.
Wow.
So a lot of the ridiculous, burdensome overregulation on business has already been stripped out.
Like the $1 million per flavor per...
No, that's coming from the federal level. We still have to deal with that, but we'll see what happens there. No, these were manufacturing standards on vape shops.
So you know some local...
And I believe it would have required ISO 4 laboratories with security, a security level equal to that of a casino. So they would have had to have
laboratories.
Yeah, so they would have had to basically have armed guards on duty 24/7, things like that.
Well, they have liquid nicotine.
I agree. I agree.
You know, and some of our local people here, just as a FYI, have their own lab.
No, I understand they do. And if they're willing to invest that kind of money into a lab, why aren't they willing to invest some money into the GSFA? Because I know for a fact those people are not members, and they should be.
Preaching to the choir, hon.
Yeah, well, they're not members, and until they become members, I won't be shopping there again.
I'm with you.
Sorry. That's just the way it is.
I understand.
But
your average person who's not going to be on top of this stuff has no idea.
Exactly.
And quite frankly, if it wasn't for my relationship with you, I wouldn't know this.
Mm-hmm.
I go there because they have the best juice in town, hands down.
Right.
In town.
Right.
And so, you know, folks would never know. I never even heard of the smoke-free act.
Listen,
or whatever.
you know, I'm not going to name them or anything like that. I will tell you they make a good product. They make it in a clean environment, and they do all the right things. And we're vapors. We're not opposed to some reasonable regulations.
They're good people. You know, they're trying to do the right thing. I just don't know why they're not getting involved to protect their own industry.
I mean, as an industry as a whole, they already self-regulate. Even though there's no age restriction in Georgia, they impose an age restriction on themselves, 18 years old. Even though there are no packaging requirements in Georgia, every vendor I know has adopted child-proof packaging. I'm not opposed to a labeling requirement as long as it's on a national level. I am opposed to individual states implementing their own separate labeling requirements, because then you have 50 different requirements for labeling in each state that each company has to try and come up, meet before they can sell their product there. I think a labeling requirement should be required on a national level. Whether that involves federal regulation or not, I don't know. I think the industry can come up with that by themselves and, again, self-regulate. And if vendors tell all of their suppliers, you either meet this standard or we will not sell your product, it will self-regulate. There are things I am not opposed to making sure that the liquid is made in a clean environment and not mixed in a bathtub or a toilet sink or something like that. There's a sensible middle ground to be reached here, which is why it's really important that my side of this discussion is heard. But in this case, it's going to be the business side and the political side. And I'm hoping that, again, it's currently in the House. It will be moving on to the Senate, so this will give Senator Van Ness a jump on the legislation and get her in touch with the experts so that she has a more rounded understanding of what vaping is, what its benefits are, what its harms are, because Bill's not going to lie to her. It's not 100% safe. We know this. Nobody would ever say it's, or at least nobody ethical would ever say it's 100% safe.
I think it's 1,000,000 times more safe than smoking cigarettes, though.
It's a lot safer. Public Health England released their report, and they said definitively that it's 95% safer than smoking. And these are, doctors and scientists. So if they say 95% that they're absolutely certain of, we know it's a lot safer than that. I don't know. I'm glad I can get them both together. I'm glad we can make some headway. I'm absolutely thankful beyond, my words can't say how thankful I am to the Georgia Smoke Free Association for the work they've done here in Georgia and the work they continue to do. And, oh my God, to the people coming in from out of state to help us. At the last second, people flying in and running down to our Capitol and fighting for rights of Georgia vapors when Georgia vape shops can't even go down there and do it for themselves.
Did you go down there?
I didn't. I was in the same boat as everybody else. I found out at 12 o'clock. The session was at 2 o'clock. I left the office at 3:30. By that time, they were done.
I would have gone with you.
Yeah. Now I know there's a hearing. It's either next Tuesday or next Thursday, and I will be there. If it's open to the public, I'll be there because I know it's coming this time.
Well, when you find out, let me know, and I can make, if I can make arrangements in advance.
Mm-hmm. I will do
for T-Bug. Then I will absolutely go with you.
Okay, good. We're on a break. We're a couple of minutes away. Danny, anything you want to add?
Sorry, I hit my mic because the dog's barking. Did you see the article that I sent you? I didn't know if you would even want to talk about it. It's almost, I think, misleading propaganda. Or maybe it's not. I don't know. I really would kind of like your opinion on it about exploding e-cigarettes and vape pens.
Oh, yeah. I hate to say it. It's not propaganda. It happens. I use, oh, God, now I'm going to sound like a xenophobe.
Well, we both.
I've come across as a rabid misogynist and sexist, and now I'm going to come across as a xenophobe. You're going to start calling me Donald Trump by the end of this show.
It's about responsibility.
I use American-made regulated devices. Jenny does. Jenny and I use American-made regulated devices. I use them because the two companies we use, ProVape, who make the ProVary, and Vape Forward, who make the Vapor Flask, have a reputation for making safe devices. I've never once heard of a ProVary exploding, and I've never once heard of a Vapor Flask exploding. And it's because of the electronics inside them and the way they're regulated. Unfortunately, you can't say that about all devices. There are a lot of cheap devices on the market, both regulated and unregulated. However, it appears that the unregulated devices are the bigger problem. These are what they call mechanical mods, which basically take your battery current and apply it to the coil with no electronic regulation whatsoever in between. You couple that with this trend of sub-ohming, building super low resistance coils.
Speak in English because a lot of people are
I am building a very super low resistance coil. This is what I'm trying to do, which draws a massive amount of current, an amperage, and stresses the battery because it's pulling. Okay, the coil is.
It's okay, Al. My big brain understands you.
The coil is such a low resistance that it requires a massive amp draw and current draw in order to heat up the coil. This puts a huge strain on the battery, and because of that, batteries have been failing. When a battery vents, It is in other words, when it explodes, it is violent. It is not something you want in your hand while you're doing it.
Let alone in your face.
Now, you can.
There's been lithium batteries that have exploded on planes and brought down planes. So.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, batteries explode in many different devices. However, in an unregulated mech mod where somebody is, trying to pull 60 amps over a battery that's rated for 30,
or they have it jacked up to their Super Duty, trying to vape off their truck battery.
It's going to be a lot more prevalent with these guys. Now, it can be done safely if you understand Ohm's law and you have a firm grasp on battery safety. It can be done safely. However, so many people don't have that understanding and that knowledge, and that's the problem. And so we see these devices exploding. Now, I haven't read this specific article.
I just found it today. I think it's fairly recent. I was reading it right before the show, is why I didn't get it to you until now. I apologize.
But yeah, no, I mean, in all honesty, Danielle, I can't sit here and say it's hyperbole, because when you look at some of these devices and how cheap and poorly made they are, and you open them up and you see the way they're put together with freaking hot glue.
Right.
Hot glued together, and they're using knockoff Chinese chips. Mine is an American-made DNA-40 chip, which are very, very safe and highly regulated, and they protect your batteries. Their number one job is to protect batteries. Providing you vapor is secondary. The companies admit this. ProVape the same way. Their number one job is safety. Their second job is providing you a decent vape. And then there's battery chargers. I've seen videos of these cheap. Remember when we used Egos, and they had those screw-in and those really cheap Chinese chargers? I've seen those go up in flames.
Really?
Yeah. It's scary, some of the junk we used to use.
What kind of battery charger do you use?
I use a Nightcore 4-cell regulated charger.
I think mine's called a Trust Fit or a
Trust Fire. They're not very good. Is that okay? Nah, I've seen them have issues.
Well, I've been vaping for 3 years.
Yeah, no, yours.
I've never had an issue.
It's not. It's put it this way: there are far worse available. So yours is okay. I had a Trust Fire. I now have 2 Nightcores, a 4-cell at home, a 2-cell at work. And even then, I never leave batteries in them unattended.
Really?
Yeah. No, I don't trust them that much.
I think mine's loaded up right now, as a matter of fact.
Well, you use 18350s. You have to keep one on charge all the time.
Leave me alone.
Yeah, no, I'm not digging on you. I have a ProVary as well. I love it. I love 18350 in it. I vape at 10 watts, or on that 3.2 volts, I think. And I love the vape I get off it. Okay. Listen, we've gone way over a break here. We got to pay some bills. Have a couple of songs. We'll be right back.
Alex, during the break, can you look on the YouTube feed? There are some comments.
How do I see that?
Can you? Are you on YouTube, like on your computer?
Oh, I'm in Chrome. Would I have to go to? I have
YouTube up on my computer, like on another screen, and the comments are just coming up beside where I see the show.
I don't even see the show.
Here, I can show them to you.
I don't even see the show listed.
Click the...
Shit, I need to click this button.
I think you clicked Just for Fun or something.
Yeah, I'm on Just for Fun's page, and, oh, I was in history.
Precious.
I know.
He's all flustered.
Look at the big brain on him.
Big brain. Too
much going on in it. Here we go. So I'm gonna watch, I guess, and where are the comments? I don't know where to go to see comments.
Dave asked, do Kanga Pro tanks blow up?
The Pro tank itself. Who's this? Dave? Diamond Dave?
Yeah.
Pro tanks themselves No, because it is it's one of these. It's basically just a tank. You put a coil in it. The worst that can happen to the tank is that you apply too much current, and the coil pops, and you no longer get to vape it. Or you drop it and the glass breaks and your juice goes everywhere. That's pretty much the worst that can happen with the tanks. It's the battery or whatever holds the battery that are prone to exploding. And I say prone. They're not prone to it, but it does happen.
Okay. He also said the battery is Telsa Spider 2. I think is what it says. I don't know.
A Tesla Spider, that's a mech mod, and that's something you got to be careful of, because, in fact, I saw a story recently, I believe, where a Tesla Spider did explode on somebody, or the battery inside it, I should say. Yeah, it's a Tesla Spider e-cig. Let me pull this up real quick and make sure this is the one I'm thinking of. You know what? No, this is... I'm thinking of the wrong thing. So it looks like the Tesla Spider is a 3.7 volt regulated stick battery. It looks like it has protection. It has 5-click on and off, and it has some protection in it. So no, the chances of that blowing up are very slim, simply because it will not allow you to fire a coil that it does not support. So if it supports down to a 0.5 ohm coil, that's all it will ever fire, is down to 0.5. You won't be able to go any lower. So I would be okay with that one.
Okay, good.
I hope that answered the man's question.
I want to know where these
should not blow up. I don't know if you can see it on mobile. Let me go on my phone.
Are you just on YouTube.com?
Yes.
Okay, maybe I need to go there, because I'm on the YouTube live events page.
With my little bitty brain, I can't process all that, so I just go to the regular.
We're going to focus on this a lot, aren't we? For some reason, we're going to be talking about this.
Well, you know, and my brain is full of all of my graduate degrees, so I don't have room to think about a whole lot of other stuff.
Danielle, could you move closer to the camera? Your head seems to be shrinking.
My brain is getting smaller.
Yes.
My brain is full of all of my graduate.
All right.
I bet you those earphones are fitting like a lot looser.
They're loosening. Now. They're like wobbling around.
All right, now I see the comments.
Okay, good job. Speaking of not being very smart, so when I was traveling, I don't know if I told this story on the show, but I had packed my kitties in my travel kit, well, in my kitty case, to take them with so that I could be on the show from Tampa, and I packed my boom mic in there and promptly lost it. So I had to order some more. So now I got the replacement one and the one for when I lose the replacement one.
Very nice.
But in the meantime, I shamed Kurt into buying me a really cool actual microphone.
Yeah, of course you did.
Yeah. But that's all right.
Good.
Look how cool it is, though. Look.
Oh, wait. I'm looking at the... Now
Frozen
I'm not looking
frame.
at...
It looks like a shower massage.
Show me again. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah, the blue. Yeah. A lot of podcasters use those because the quality is very, very high.
Because it's so freaking cool, you mean?
They are very good. And they have one that's very retro looking. What you have?
Yes.
You want this?
No, do you want that?
I want another one of these, please. It's in the fridge. Thank
Let me
you.
cruise through the igloo with my flip-flops and go get that.
All right. Ooh, bit of Footloose. Oh, you want to wish you were listening to the app right now. You'd be listening to some Kenny Loggins.
Oh, come on.
You got it. Every now and then you got to cut loose.
I should get my friend Alexa to play that for me later.
Have you seen the remake of the movie, by the way?
No.
Footloose. It's not bad.
Is
I,
it really?
I hate that I like it, but it's not
Mhm.
bad. It's got some good dancing in it. Some good.
I'm a little afraid of remakes of movies that I love.
Yeah.
And
It bothers me too.
I'm equally afraid to rewatch movies that I loved back in the day because I'm afraid they're not as awesome as I remember them being.
And that's mostly true.
Yeah.
I've actually downloaded several, movies that I thought were like funny as hell in the
Mhm.
back in the day, and rewatched them and got about halfway through and went, "Wow, this is stupid."
Yeah.
I mean, just like they just remade the first Star Wars, that was a disappointment.
Re-released, you mean?
Didn't they
No,
just
that-
remake it and release it as a new movie? It was like the exact same plot,
You're such a dick.
the exact same plot, the exact same everything.
No, it's totally different. It's the
Don't engage.
prequel.
Don't
Wait,
engage.
I'm sorry. The difference was instead of Death Star, it was Supermassive Death Star.
Did you see the movie, Alex?
It's
No.
Death Star.
me
I
neither,
really mean
but
it
I was
this
gonna-
time.
I was going to make fun of you for seeing it. I didn't see it.
I've never seen Titanic, and
I-
I've never seen Star Wars.
Al was over here, and I tried to make him watch it, and he wouldn't.
I saw the first couple Star Wars back in the day.
I can proudly say I've never seen any of the Star Trek, Star Wars, Star whatever,
Anything?
or nothing. No, I've never seen any of that.
I refuse to watch it. Mother says she watched Django Unchained, and it was a great movie, and it was. I have to agree with that. Have you seen Django or
Yes.
Django?
Yes.
That is.
No, what's that?
It's
Can you tell her I said hey, please?
So I believe it's a Quentin Tarantino film, and it has a real. You can. She's watching.
Hi, Ruby. I don't know if she remembers me.
She asked about you all the time.
Aw.
So Django is a Tarantino movie, I believe, and it has a real spaghetti western feel to it.
Spaghetti.
Okay, they're called spaghetti western.
Okay, I
because
am
they
in.
were
You
made-
said Quentin Tarantino and spaghetti western. I'm in.
Yeah, well, they're called spaghetti westerns because they were made in Italy and they got nicknamed spaghetti westerns. And the director who made them, the three big ones were The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly, A Fistful of Dollars, and For a Few Dollars More. They all had Clint Eastwood in them. And it was the same director that did all three. It was a trilogy. And it was his style of directing that made them so great. I mean, they're fantastic movies the way they're made. And pardon me. And yeah, pardon me. And obviously,
This belch brought to you by
obviously,
Guinness.
and I can't remember his name. I think it was Albert something or other. I don't know. I can't remember. It's obvious when you look at Quentin Tarantino's movies that he was a big influence on Quentin Tarantino's style, and because Tarantino has. We're going live in about a few seconds, by the way. All right, we're going back on, and we're going to talk about Django. All right, we're back. During the break, we were talking about movies, and my mom, who's watching, hi Rube, said that she watched Django, and it brought up the conversation about spaghetti westerns. Now, I was telling Jenny they're called this because they were made in Italy, and they became nicknamed spaghetti westerns. It's kind of racist when you think about it. But this was the 60s and 70s, so who cared? The three biggies were The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly, A Fistful of Dollars, and For a Few Dollars More, which were a trilogy featuring Clint Eastwood when he was young. The Good, the Bad. Now, I can't remember the director's name. Albert something, I think. I'm looking it up. However, this director had a...
Aldo Sambrelli.
Is it? Okay. He had a very unique style of filmmaking. And when you watch if you've ever seen a spaghetti western and then watch a Quentin Tarantino movie, you can see that this guy was obviously an influence on Tarantino because the similarities are remarkable. This is why I love Quentin Tarantino films, because of his style. It's not the movie itself. It's not even the story half the time. because the Kill Bill was rubbish, but because of the way it was made, it was a fantastic movie. Or I should say, the plot line of Kill Bill was rubbish, but the movie as a whole was amazing because of the way it was made. And the same thing with Django. If you made a film about that subject matter in any other style, you would probably be crucified by the Hollywood gods as, a racist and just like the world's most awful person, or quite possibly hailed as a savior of slavery. I don't know. It would go one way or the other, but because of the way Tarantino made the film and actually engaged the audience, it was amazing. I loved that film. It was fantastic. So yeah, I second Mum right there. I think Django was a great film, and another Quentin Tarantino classic. I've got a ton of messages that I'm trying to keep up.
Certainly going to look for it now. I could say the same thing about Pulp Fiction. Another kind of weak plot line, but fantastic film.
But a great film because of the way it was made. Yeah, it was absolutely brilliant.
I don't think I've ever even seen that movie, honestly.
Really?
Yeah. I'm not a big fan of John Travolta. And so, yeah, I'm pretty sure. I mean, I'm sure that I've seen bits and pieces of it.
Have you seen Reservoir Dogs?
No, God, no.
Another brilliant film.
That's a fantastic film. I think there's some subject matter in there that would probably affect your sensibilities, but it's still worth watching because it's an entertaining film.
It's all kind of part of the experience.
Yeah. Now, how the hell did we get onto that? I don't know. All right, let's go on to.
Your mom led us astray.
I'm gonna touch on this for about 15 seconds. Because this guy's got into a bit of an issue on Facebook with a keyboard cowboy. I said something, he didn't like it. I started treating him like the idiot that he was. I used my typical condescending intelligence to make this guy appear like a jackass, and he became obsessed with me. So I would say something and then run off and do stuff for an hour. I would come back and he's left like 10 comments for me, right?
Oh my God, it's like TGO.
Oh yeah, I was in this guy's brain like you wouldn't even believe. And I promise you he's listening tonight. I promise you he is. But I was in his brain like you wouldn't believe. Anyway,
where does this Dingleberry live?
I'm not gonna say his name.
Is it near us?
Possibly. I don't. No, not anymore. I actually have police officers in 2 counties asking me for his name so that they can go check him out. But I'm not gonna do that. I'm gonna let it go. All I will say, he showed his ass. I'm sure he's a nice guy. I hope he's nicer than he comes across on Facebook, although he might not be, because apparently his own secretary had to block him from her Facebook page. So he might be a bit of a jackass, who knows.
Why do you know that?
I know a lot about this man, trust me. Well, put it this way, it got to the point where he was approaching me on my own private messenger and harassing me. That's when I make it my business to know who I'm dealing with.
So how did he get in communication with you to begin with?
It was a comment on somebody's Facebook page, and he just went from there. But anyway, he said, here's what he said to me. I've had 5 people tell me you're a felon.
What?
Hands up, anybody here who thinks I'm a felon.
Not a freaking chance.
Yeah. I have a senator coming on my show next week. I'm on the campaign to re-elect Sheriff Levitt. I've been in my job for 20 years.
We've known you for 20 years. We would have noticed if you were gone being, a felon.
I know. I have a carry permit. I have a carry permit. I train with some of the, most respected people in Georgia. Felons don't do that kind of thing. I just thought it was funny. He showed his ass. What he was trying to do was to get me to bite and say something rude, and I didn't. Everything I said to him was polite. So anyway, he went back on and he said to the person whose page we were on. He said, "Well, I was going to advertise with you, but now I don't think I will because it wouldn't match our image." No, you're right. It wouldn't match our image. We're not a bunch of cunts.
And there we go.
Anyway, yeah.
How you doing, Mom?
Yeah, well, I mean, the guy's a prick, and he showed his ass, and like I say, I hope he's nicer than he came across on Facebook, and if at some point he wants to reach out and I don't know, have a beer, talk on the show, whatever, let bygones be bygones, that's fine. But when you come after me on my own personal Facebook, I'm going to consider you a threat, and I got a lot of people watching out for me, so.
I'm pretty certain that with your affiliation with me and my affiliation and everything that I do for the Rockdale County Sheriff's Office, I'm pretty certain that if there was anything shady about you, we would already know.
Well, I've been through numerous. I have a green card. I've been through Homeland Security background checks.
I know,
I've been
but you
through
could have killed somebody since then.
FBI background checks. I've been through GBI background. I've been through every possible background check a person could go through. Anyway, that was over the weekend, so that was fun.
Created yourself a little entertainment, did we?
Yeah. Also, over the weekend, I started looking into FPV drone racing. Man, I want to do this. These things go like 50 miles an hour. You wear some virtual reality goggles, and you just fly around really fast in obstacles. I want to do this.
Did I mention that Duran Duran's going to be in Atlanta on my birthday, and I have front row tickets? Did anybody get that memo?
You did.
I'm so excited.
You did. It's completely irrelevant to what I was saying.
I was trying to change the subject because it was just horrifying.
They're still alive.
Shut up.
Yeah, they're still going. Their pants look a little bit padded these days from the Depends, but they're still kicking.
No hover rounds or walkers involved. They're good.
Yeah.
I mean, they were popular when I was in college, and I'm old.
Yeah, we're all old, Keith. You're excused.
All right. Let's move on to technology already. Well, I guess. Let's. Let's move on to something. Sorry, message. Let's move on to something else. Let's talk about some technology. Danielle.
Hello.
What was it you bought? What
I
was
didn't
that?
buy it.
Oh,
I
what
made a
happened?
new friend.
What's his name?
Her name's Alexa.
The name's Alexa.
Yes.
And what is it?
She's my friend, and when I walk in the room and I say things like, Alexa, play Pearl Jam 10, she plays Pearl Jam 10, then the music just starts. It's amazing.
Okay. It's an Amazon Echo.
Don't be a dick.
Is what it is. Well, people want to know what it is. I mean,
That's
it's
what it
Alexa
is.
the Echo.
If people can't reverse engineer that and figure out it's an Echo, then they need to find another show to be listening to. Yes.
All right, so tell me, what is an Echo? What does it do?
It is a...
What benefit does it bring to the table?
Essentially, it is a smart speaker. So you link it to your Wi-Fi system. It is, like you said, it's an Amazon product. So much of what it does is on the Amazon, I guess, Amazon network or whatever. So like when I tell her to play some music, she goes and looks for it in the Amazon library. You can ask her, I refer to her as her, you can ask it questions. Like I'm forever asking her what time it is, just for fun. The weather, I walked in this morning and said, Alexis, what's today's news? And she gives me the morning news brief. It'll do things like, for instance, if Keith's Nest worked, or if Keith took his Nest to Alex's house and got it hooked up and it worked. There are smart house things that you can get the Echo to control. There are if this then that chains that you can set up that the Echo will do.
Yeah.
Of course, I don't have any of that stuff. Thus far, she just plays music for me. Mm-hmm. She does a lot of the stuff that you can do, like with Siri, like to-do lists or check your calendar or those kind of things. So the same thing that a lot of the other audio assistant things do. But she is an Amazon product.
Okay. And we've assigned a gender to her.
Well, her name's Alexa, but It only responds to, you can choose one of 3 wake terms, either Alexa, Amazon, or Echo. I couldn't find a hack to change her name to David Bowie. I worked on it a lot last night, but I think Alexa, because the phonemes are so simple, I think that's why they went with Alexa for her name, because they're so easy to recognize, but they're also distinctive from common words you would use, so she doesn't just wake up all the time because she's on all the time. She's also named after the library at Alexandria, but yeah, I think that's why they call her Alexa, because Lex, are very simple phonemes.
Okay.
So as far as the voice recognition for a wake term or wake phrase, I think it's a, you know.
Okay. I'm looking at the comments. I'm sorry, and I'm gonna jump back a second. John says, who I think is Dave, says all the.
I've been ignoring him because I think if he wants to be part of the show, he should have to call in.
Okay. So the Eastwood movies were directed by Sergio Leone. Of course they were. And Danielle Stevens says spaghetti westerns are known as macaroni.
That's Jacob.
Is it?
Isn't it? Roll back.
Why is Jacob going by that?
You need to read all the comments.
Yeah, it's his girlfriend.
Yeah, Danielle's a miss. That's right. So Jacob says spaghetti westerns are known as macaroni westerns in Japan. Don't know why. All right. Sorry, Danielle.
Okay.
Now, can you not say? Now, was this pre-named or did you name her?
Yes, there are 3 wake terms you can use: Alexa, Amazon, or Echo. So those are the terms that she responds to.
Okay, so it's not like you can't say, Alexa, your name is now, Bob.
Well, you can, but it doesn't change anything.
Okay, so it doesn't.
This is what I was saying last night. I wanted to change her name to David Bowie, but I couldn't figure out how to hack it.
And you couldn't just say it.
I mean, I could tell her that all day long. Like last night, I told her,
obviously,
Alexa, it's time for bed, and she said, I don't understand what you're saying. So I said, Alexa, good night, and she's like, I don't understand what you're saying. But if you say if you tell her thank you, she'll say you're welcome or no problem, or she'll tell you a joke if you ask her to tell you a joke. Just depends on how lonely you are.
So how would it integrate? You say it would integrate with a Nest. How would it integrate with other home automation things like light bulbs, for example? Because I would want to be, and with Apple's Homebridge, I can say, Siri, it's bedtime, and Siri will lock the doors and set the temperature and turn out the lights for me over Homebridge. So how would it do that with the Echo?
There is an app, a phone app for the Echo, where you can control things, and I assume you would do it from there. I don't know because I don't have those things, but I'm pulling up the app now. So like, she'll play Pandora, for instance. So I went into the app and set up my Pandora because I wanted to play my music, not Kurt's. Okay. So when I walk into the room and I say, Alexa, play Pandora, she'll play the last Pandora station I was listening to. So I'm assuming it would be the same kind of thing. Well, and I don't know if I said this. I set it up through the app on the phone. Mm-hmm. I assume it would be the same kind of thing. You would set it up through the phone app, and then you could give it the voice prompts.
Yeah, I guess, and I'm assuming that's how it works with If This Then That. You have to download the IFTT app and set up your conditions.
Right.
Then have you ever seen IFTT, Jen?
No.
So if this, then that. So if one condition is met, do this.
Okay.
And for example, with my Philips Hue light bulbs, and if I had a Nest attached to them, I could say if the temperature dropped to below 60 degrees, set my lights to red, or whatever, a warmer color. Right? So whenever the temperature got colder, it would automatically change the color of my light bulbs to a warmer color to give the illusion of warmth in the house. That's if this, then that, and it automates processes like that. So you can integrate it with social media, for example. If I get a Facebook notifications, flash my light bulbs blue. blue for Facebook, right? And it'll do things like that. Or if I get a text message, flash them green because iMessage, the icon is green. So I would set it to that so that it's memorable to me. And of course, it's an unlimited chain of events as well. You can make the chain as complex as you want it to be, and depending on the automation processes you have set up in your home, you could have it. I mean, well, you know, when my GPS locator tells you I get home, open my garage, set my lights to a scene, you know, turn on the fire, or set the temperature to a certain temperature, right? And it could go on and on and on. Play this music. It's very powerful stuff. I've never used it.
You have all that, and
No.
you've never used it?
Yeah, I have. Well, I don't have all of that stuff right now. I have light bulbs. I have home automated light bulbs, which are fantastic, by the way.
Yeah, don't you control those by your phone?
Well, it's actually automatic. When I get home, I have timers set up that do things at specific times of day. So at 4 a.m., the lights start to come on gradually and then get to their full brightness to help me wake up. At certain times of day, they all turn off. When I leave the house, it sets a specific scene. When I get back, it sets a different scene for while I'm there at the house. It's really good, and I don't ever have to touch the app. It does it automatically. Unless, of course, a timer kicks in, which I choose to override. For example, on weekdays, I have it to turn off all my lights at 10 o'clock, at 10:30, sorry, randomly. So around 10:30, they'll go off at different times. And sometimes I'll be in the middle of something, and all the damn lights will go off. And I'm scrambling in the dark to find my phone because at this point, your light switches no longer work. It's all done through the app. Oh, it's brilliant.
That's awesome.
Yeah, so I've been caught in the dark a number of times trying to get back to find a phone. It's lucky I keep a flashlight on me at all times, to be honest with you.
You
And
can
that's
tell
when your
Alexa.
toes and shins are screaming at you, "Don't walk."
Oh yeah, I've kicked I've stubbed my toe on the corner of furniture a number of times doing that. It's very funny.
But you could just tell Alexa to turn the lights on.
Right, and you know what? And it would not be dependent on finding your phone,
Right.
because Alexa sits in one spot.
Yep. And
So
she can hear pretty well. Like,
Yeah, so I should theoretically be able to yell from any place in the house, Alexa, turn the fucking lights on.
hmm I haven't cursed at her yet. I should try it. See if she gets offended.
Yeah, I curse at Siri all the time. Oh, by the way, quick update on this phone. It seems to have settled down. I did do a full restore over the weekend and set it up again from scratch, which helped. All the bugs seemed to have worked themselves out. I assume it's done indexing or whatever it does, and seems to be working fine. So, good news.
Hey, you know what happened since the last show, Alex, that we haven't talked about is the whole Oklahoma, wherever it was, raid thing that we sat and listened to for 8 hours and missed all the excitement.
Yeah, and we'll talk about that after the break. And before Keith runs out, I want to find out about his new bed.
Oh, yes.
All right, we'll be back after this break.
Oregon. Why does Oregon escape my brain?
It's like a spice minus an O.
This laptop over here is rebooting. It's getting dodgy.
Which one is that?
The one that runs the radio station. It's
Okay, good. So it's not important at all.
yeah, no, the unimportant machine.
Right.
Yeah, it's
The brains of the whole works.
well, I'm the brains of the whole works.
That's the lady brain. It's the little one off to the side that doesn't do anything.
Actually, I think of the two of us here, I'm the tiny brain. I'm talking about the computer.
She totally just scowled at you. I could see the scowl from the back of her head.
Yeah, between me and the computer, I am obviously the tiny brain here. Yeah, so when we get back, let's talk about, well, let Keith do his bed thing, and then we'll talk about the Raid, we stayed up all night
That was
listening
awesome.
to, and nothing happened.
God, that was awesomely bad. I
Um,
literally left for an hour and a half, and everything happened while I was gone showing a house.
ah,
Well, that'll teach you to do your job.
Right, bitches? Only because I couldn't reschedule the showing. I tried. I was
You're like,
I'm
there's
8.
stuff going down in oregano.
I was like, I am 8 hours into this thing. I cannot leave. Yeah. Did anybody see the Grammy
I'll
cams?
just to the house. Tell me if you like it.
no, what are Grammy cams?
They had GoPro cameras in the Grammy Awards, like in the actual like award statues.
Oh, did they really?
It was horrible. God, it
Oh,
was, I've never in my life seen so many pictures of like mid-trips and armpits.
oh yeah, yeah. And somebody
I-
holds it down, you just get the hem of their skirt. or something.
So
I
bad.
watched a small bit of the Grammys because, of course, I'm up at 5 a.m. So
Right.
9 p.m. is my bedtime.
I see.
And apparently they had a shit ton of sound problems.
Did they really?
Like they couldn't get the monitors in your ear correct. They couldn't get the microphones mic'd right. They had apparently, and I heard this all in the news today or on the way into work. Adele was doing one of her songs, and the piano was like, it sounded like it was completely out of tune. Apparently, a microphone had fallen onto the strings.
Oh no.
Oh my
And
gosh.
so when the piano player's playing away, it's sounding like totally shit.
Oh no. I saw some. I didn't read the stories, but I did see some headlines about that, about Adele's bum notes or something like that.
Yeah, it wasn't hers. It was
I
the
saw-
piano.
I saw 2 videos. I saw one video of my girl Tay Tay dissing Kanye. She
Yeah.
won back to Taylor Swift. She won back-to-back albums of the year.
And
she went
he
up-
actually did let her finish, so that's good.
Yep. Yeah, he did. He didn't interrupt her this time. She went up and just threw a lot of shade his way without using his name, but everybody knew what
Really?
he was talking about.
That's
Oh yeah,
awesome.
a lot of shade. And then I saw a video of Demi Lovato during the tribute to Lionel Richie. She
Oh, God.
sang a portion of Hello.
I did see that.
Absolutely amazing.
Really?
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely.
I don't know if
amazing.
anyone's noticed, but she's kind of good looking.
She's very good looking,
A little bit, yeah.
Demi Lovato, and a great singer. Yeah, it was unbelievable when she opened her mouth. It was quite amazing.
Yeah, I saw that, and I basically watched the first about an hour of it, and then I had to go to sleep. So
Did you hear that Kanye has apparently been blowing up Twitter and what have you, trying to get Mark Zuckerberg?
Yeah, Zuckerberg. He wants $1 billion from Zuckerberg.
What?
For what?
Just,
douchebag.
I guess he
Like-
needs money, and it was he. I think he was kidding and being satirical, saying, "Hey, Zuckerberg, why don't you throw me $1 billion as an investment in Kanye or
Oh,
something?"
God.
I guess
because Mark Zuckerberg said he was going to give away all that money. Maybe that's what it was.
yeah. Which is any of that true?
Oh, that whole hoax, that
Yeah, I was
that
going to say, wasn't
Facebook-
that a hoax?
trolling
Well,
thing.
he did say that over the course of, I don't know, maybe his lifetime, I don't know, he was going to give, him and his wife were going to give away their profits from Facebook or something like that. But it wasn't real specific. And of
Yeah.
course, now there's all these little posts that, hey, if you quote this and retweet, reshare this, then you'll get $10,000.
Yeah.
And,
Chances are he'll set up a foundation just like Bill and Melinda Gates did.
Yeah.
Right.
You use the money to do something good in the world. And you know, because I don't see him just handing out money willy-nilly, maybe to individual charities, you know, smaller amounts, but yeah, I imagine he'll set up the Zuckerberg Foundation or something like that.
Mm.
Yeah, so Kanye, well, he rented out Didn't he rent out Yankee Stadium or something for a fashion show? That can't be cheap.
I don't know. I just wish he would fall off the planet.
I
mean,
know,
seriously,
I know.
I truly freaking despise him.
I know you don't like Kanye. I don't know entirely why, but
Well, he's just a douche.
You know, and
Seriously,
he always speaks so lovely of Jenny, though.
he does.
But yeah, she's entitled to her opinion.
Nothing but good things to say about you.
And he always just looks so freaking miserable. Like, look at the dude's face. He looks like an ass. I'm
That's
serious.
He has to portray that. That's just an act. He's actually a loving and caring human being.
That's right.
Whatever.
Yes, humanitarian.
Sure.
Yes.
It's all about the kids to him.
It's all about that big old booty, is what
Yeah.
it's all.
Kanye believes the children are the future.
Loves the booty.
You teach them well.
And let them lead the way.
He loves the booty.
We have just gone off the rails here.
Yeah. We're on a break, so
Well, I mean,
Well, I wanted to say that live on the air, damn it.
when we go back on, say whatever you have to say about Kanye and let it go.
we
Let
could
your
still
First
talk about
Amendment rights
something.
fly free.
Till they're taken away, at least.
Did you ever hear the song he did with Rihanna and Paul McCartney? Oh, it was really good.
I don't know why someone like Paul McCartney would even stoop to that level to. I can't even.
We're live in 5 seconds. It was really good, except for when Kanye started singing, not rapping, actually singing, and that was desperate. All right, here we go in 3, 2. All right, we're back.
Good God.
We're back. I believe Jenny has something to say about Kanye West.
I fucking despise you.
Okay, there we go. That's done. All right, let's. I want to talk to Keith about his most recent purchase, which is actually technology. Keith, tell everybody what you got, why you got it, and all that nonsense.
So you know, the last time I bought a mattress for my bed was like 12 years ago, 15 years ago, something like that, and it was dented and time to replace it. So I'd happen to sleep at a friend's house who had one of a sleep number bed, and it's actually kind of cool. I got a king, so it's basically got 2 twin air mattresses in it, and it's got this cover over top of them that it basically makes it feel like a mattress, and you can set it for whatever firmness you like. I've decided that I'm about a 60. It goes in increments of 5, so it's basically a 20-point scale. And so yeah, I've been enjoying it. It's very, very comfortable. I also got the Sleep IQ, which has the ability to record your heart rate, your breathing rate, how much tossing and turning you did, those sort of things, and it gives you kind of a ranking of your night's sleep, and it's informative. It lets you know what things you kind of did right, what you can do to improve.
Do you think you're sleeping any better? Because this wasn't cheap. Yeah, I mean this was not
cheap.
Inexpensive purchase, and here's my perspective: if it helps you sleep better and you feel better, then it's probably worth the money. So, do you feel better? Do you think you're sleeping better?
Okay, so first I bought just the bed itself, right, which came with a bed and a box spring, and so it was flat. And I didn't think I was really sleeping any better in that, but I liked the fact that I could adjust the firmness.
Right.
So then I said, okay, I'm in for a penny, in for a pound. I'll get the adjustable base, right, which that raises your feet, raises your head. Some models have a massager that basically jiggles the bed, and that sort of thing. So I went back to Sleep Number and looked at theirs, and Theirs were astronomically expensive. It was, I want to say it was $2,000 for a base model that just raised the head, then $2,600 that raised your feet as well, and then if you wanted like the massage, it was $38, almost $4,000. It was crazy.
Mm-hmm.
So I went on to Amazon and just looked up adjustable electronic bed, and came across one that was $2,000. It did everything that the Sleep Number bed did, including the massage, which I don't really use because it's, you know, it's just a novelty as far as I can tell. But I will tell you, with my head raised and my feet raised just a little bit, I sleep like a baby.
Nice.
Wow.
Yeah. It's great. You know, I spent probably around $5,000 for the bed. But I think, you know, if you spend a third of your life in something, you know, that's more time than I ever spend in my car.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely.
You know, and I spent a small amount of money on my car by spending $20,000. So, you know, I think this is a good investment in you. So, you know, it is what it is.
So, Keith, have you found that it's easier to fall asleep or it's easier to stay asleep or both?
Both.
Wow.
Yeah. Yeah, I think it's a little bit of both. And in the morning I wake up and I don't like to like jump right out of bed and go into the shower and get ready. I like to watch, you know, the news and log on and check out Alex's Facebook and that sort of thing, you know, see what things he's posted. So, you know, it's nice to be able to put the thing up almost like a lazy boy and just sit there and read your Facebook posts and all that sort of thing.
I'd be nodding back off.
Yeah. It would be awesome if you could set your bed. Like, I could set my lights to flash different colors when I get an alert.
Oh, yeah.
And
then
set the bed to vibrate at the same time.
Well,
Yeah,
you know, actually, as you know, Alex, I watch, and Danielle, you know as well, I watch the DIY Network a lot. And they have mattress shakers for deaf people. So if like a fire alarm is going off, it'll have a mattress shaker, because if they're in bed, they can't hear, you know, the smoke detectors. I thought that was kind of cool. I saw that on the DIY Network.
That is a brilliant idea. I think, Alex, you should get one of those beds and hook it up to your fancy phone, and you know, at a certain time, instead of an alarm clock going off your bed, just sit your ass straight up.
Now mine
Or shoots out of it. Right across the room. Get up.
my base doesn't connect to a phone. It just has a remote. For $500 or $600 more, I could have had a Bluetooth, which would have connected to a phone, and then maybe you could do what you're talking about. But I didn't think that connectivity was worth $500-$600.
That's hysterical.
It's not worth $500.
I know, but could you just imagine?
Oh, I don't know. It's pretty cool.
Huh?
It's pretty cool. I will give you that. I don't know that it's $600, $500 cool.
Yeah, I hear you.
All right.
It'd be great.
Yeah, I'm not a rich real estate agent, you know.
It would be hysterical if you had an overnight house guest and they didn't know that you had this setting on the bed, and then all of a sudden their alarm goes up there.
And then, boom.
Right? Time to go.
Yeah, get up and get out.
You don't got to go home, but you can't
Or
stay
no,
here.
you just vibrate it for like 5 seconds and then cut it off. So they come out and they're like, dude, what's going on with the bed? I don't know what you mean. And you go back in and it's totally still. And then when they get back in, you vibrate it for like 5 seconds.
Yeah.
Just
If
bust
this,
it up.
then that.
Or you know,
Yes.
right during the moment, you could actually vibrate the bed and say it was an earthquake or something.
That's right. If this, then that.
Oh, no.
Kick somebody out late at night.
And we've gone there.
We did. It took us longer than I thought it would, though.
Time. Yeah.
We did better than I thought we would.
All right. So, what we're going to talk about. So Oregon, the standard.
Yes.
right? They had this stand-up. You heard about that, I'm sure, Jen, the militia or whatever. Not militia, but I don't know.
The
Bundy.
Took over a federal building.
Bundy's taken over the abandoned buildings in a Federal Reserve. And so when was it last?
Wait, it was just like a nature reserve, right? It was just.
Yeah.
I mean, it wasn't
I'm
like.
pretty sure they took over a federal building and killed a bunch of orphan babies.
That's right.
Seals. Baby seals.
No, they were clever.
And they beat
seals.
seals.
Using them as socks.
But they didn't
Little
hurt
baby
any
seals.
Oh,
right?
socks. So there's this thing going around Facebook, and I don't know who this guy is. He's a comedian, and he reads. All he does is like well, he doesn't listen. All he does, but one of the things he does is reads people's stupid posts. And socks made me think of this. One of the posts was a girl that said, "Why haven't they invented gloves for your feet? Because my feet are always cold."
Shut up.
He looks at the camera and he says, "Do you mean fucking socks? Why haven't they invented gloves for your feet?"
That cannot be real.
Yeah, I hope she was joking, but you never know these days. So anyway, what was it last? It was Sunday night or something?
Yeah.
I am sorry to interrupt, but
You gotta go.
yeah, we've had a little bit of a family situation,
All right.
and that's what that phone call was for. So it was really good to see you guys. Take care, Keith. It's been way too long. Danny, I'll catch you.
Bye. Yes.
Bye, Ruby.
She's gone.
Oh, okay.
She went to bed. It's 9 to 11.
It's what, 2 o'clock in the morning?
1, 2 o'clock over there.
All right, bye, Jenny.
Oh,
Bye,
right.
Jenny.
Oh, okay. Well, keep me informed.
Just a quick comment. Lindsay on your feed asked if the bed needed a special frame. The box spring comes with just a box spring and a mattress. You can put legs on it, but I got the base, which actually is an entire base that doesn't need a frame. Apparently, you can connect a headboard and possibly a footboard to it, but I haven't done that yet. So that's responding to Lindsay on your YouTube
On the chat,
feed.
thank you. I appreciate that because I don't see the chat, and I need to figure out a way to open up the chat inside of this Hangout. But
Yeah, and I tried to respond
yeah.
in text, and it just kept opening a new window every time I clicked into that field. So
this is weird because when there is a chat button inside of the Hangout. However, it's just you, me, and Danielle, so it's not the public chat.
Well, yeah, because that's not YouTube, though. That's different.
Yeah, for
That's
some
the
reason I
Hangout.
don't know why they're not linked together. Oh well, sorry. Well, as long as you guys can see it and keep me abreast, that's cool.
you shouldn't have to do everything, buddy.
Yeah. So
we got this.
So anyway, what night was that the stuff in Oregon took place?
I believe it was Sunday night.
Okay, so Sunday night, I'm just cruising. I'm cruising Twitter, and
Actually, I'll find your text.
Ben. Oh, what's his name? Whatever. Guy from Fox News, local here in Atlanta, posted a link to a live stream from the compound in Oregon, and it was a phone call going on between the people in the compound and a congresswoman who was on her way there to try to save them. Congresswoman or senator? Do you know, Dan?
Do
I can't
what?
remember her name. What was Michelle? Michelle something Livesey or Lives?
So,
Whatever.
yeah, I don't remember.
Anyway, she was on the way to the compound to try and broker a surrender, and these guys are like losing it inside the compound, acting like, oh, we're not going to go out, we're going to die rather than go to prison and stuff like that. I think I stayed up expecting something to happen, stayed up till, I don't know, about 3 o'clock, and then gave up. Danielle, how long did you listen to this thing?
Yeah, 2 o'clock our time, which is 3 o'clock your time. Kurt came to bed about 11:30, so I had been on my laptop, so I had to switch to a tablet with earbuds.
Yeah.
Because at that point, I think we started at like 9.
Mhm.
So once you're like,
I was in.
Do what?
I was in.
And there were a
in.
couple of times where you and I really thought that it was about to get violent. So you know, once you go through those a couple of times, then you're emotionally in. So, you know,
And then
you
that
know,
happened.
yeah, the congresswoman was driving. She flew into Portland and then rode in. I don't know if she was in a minivan because it sounded like there were a bunch of people there with her.
Right.
The Google said it was 5 hours, but it sounded like it took like 6 or 7. And the entire time she's on the phone talking to these people, you know, and they're like, we're cold and we're tired and we want this to be over and we're not giving up and we're not going to jail and blah, blah, and whatever. And, you know, they're yelling about what the FBI is doing, and then at a couple of different points they're yelling at the FBI, and then she's talking about what idiots the FBI are for treating them the way that they're treating them. And yeah, so then
I thought it was going to go down.
well, then they agreed that they were all going to go to bed and get a good night's sleep, and that they were going to meet her and an evangelical preacher from North Carolina.
Yeah, Billy Graham's son.
Is that who? Okay.
Yeah.
Franklin Graham. They were going to meet her and Franklin Graham at the gate the next morning, and that they were going to surrender peaceably. So did you get up the next morning and start listening?
Well, I went to the same feed the next morning, and I started listening, and I thought, oh God, it's still going on, but it wasn't. It was just a replay of the previous night. So I thought I was listening to it again, and to the current conversation, but it wasn't.
Yeah, well, it started a little later. I didn't get up at 7 in the morning and start listening, although I guess 7 there anyway. So yeah, there was more of the yabba dabba back and forth business the next day, because who was it that flew to Portland and got arrested overnight? Remember that part?
Yeah, it was Clive and Bundy.
Yeah.
Father.
So then they said that they were mad that that happened. So they weren't, that, you know, there was concern that they weren't going to surrender.
Yeah.
Because of all that.
It was an absolute shit show, wasn't it?
You know, I thought it was a shit show, but then once the 3 of them surrendered and then the one guy that was left started talking, that was a shit show.
Mm-hmm.
Like, did you listen to that guy? He was mad because he wasn't allowed to smoke pot and folks expected him to get a job.
That's right.
That's a shit show right there.
That's right.
Like,
yeah. He was gonna fight with the federal government because he couldn't smoke some weed.
And they expected him to get a job.
Yep.
Yeah.
Crazy. Well, I thought it was going to go down, and he actually, the lone holdout, declared war against the federal government and then surrendered like half an hour later.
Right.
So that was a hell of a war.
Yeah. That was,
fella.
That was crazy.
Yeah. Yeah. And I missed all that, the last part of it and the actual everybody surrendering. Yeah. I missed it all. I was at work and it all happened while I was working.
Yeah.
Very disappointed. Stay up all that time listening to them, and you know, I can't say sympathizing with them because they were all a little bit deranged.
But you know, crazy. It really did get to a point though where, at least for me, when I thought something bad was going to happen, like somebody was going to get hurt, and I did I didn't want them to get hurt. You know what I mean? Like when it's
yeah, of course you don't want them to get hurt, but come on.
I mean, and it sounded like they were going to get themselves shot.
HRT would have gone in and destroyed them.
So
would have torn them apart. So they did the right thing. They surrendered. Now they can deal with it in the court system where it should have been dealt with to begin with. They're alive, and under our system of justice, they'll be treated, I'm going to say fairly, even though, you know, obviously the chips are stacked against you in the justice system. But hopefully they'll get good representation and make their case, and we'll see what happens from here. But they're alive. They're alive. They're unharmed, and that's the best they could hope for.
Much easier to stand trial when you're alive.
I can't hear you, Keith.
I said it's much easier to stand trial when you're alive.
Yes, exactly. All right, we got a break. I guess more tech when we get back.
Al, did you see 1Password either has launched or is launching a family plan?
Oh, hold on. I need to press. Damn it! I keep forgetting to press this auto button. Okay.
So much to think of.
Yeah, I don't know. I know they have a multiple installation option, but I don't know if it's a. No, the family plan must be a new thing. What's all that about?
New. Here, hang on. Let me send it to you. I actually had to work today. People are like wanting to buy houses again now all of a sudden, so I have to work.
Well, that's okay.
Where's the housing bust of 2005? Come on.
Hey! Bite your tongue.
Yeah. Don't wish for that. Let's not wish for that.
No, we don't need all that.
Although it's probably coming. Have you seen what the Dow's been doing?
Quit it.
And our massive debt. Let's see. I'm going to go to Debt Clock and see what we're at to.
I'm going to send you this link and see if it works. I always do this wrong.
Where's my keyboard? Not oh, my Bluetooth turned off.
Nope, that's it. Click that. Are you where you can click that?
Yep.
I don't know if that's just going to send you to Pocket or the article.
Our national debt right now stands at 19 trillion, 19 billion, 639 million, 380, 400,000, 420,000, 440,000, 460,000.
We're trying to get ready for the show after the break.
You can
Who
see
do we owe the money to?
You can see your debt climbing at a rate of roughly $20,000 per second.
Money to.
I have iPhone soon becoming, quote, full replacement, end quote, for Apple TV remote.
This is wanting me to log in with Pocket to read the article.
Let me see. Oh, view original. There we go. Sorry, I always do that backwards. Copy.
We owe the money to, I don't know, China and other countries. These are bonds
you have it now.
to sustain our debt. All right, let's try this link.
I think as far as I know, we only borrowed a small amount from China. I want to say like 5 billion or maybe it was 5. Maybe it was like in the trillion. I don't know.
Yeah, so Al, with this, it looks like each person can save their own private passwords, but then I think there can be like family passwords.
Yeah, a series of shared passwords synced between them.
Oh, that makes sense. So like I have, private passwords for, my emails and shared passwords for my Kroger shopping list.
Yeah, or like Netflix or something.
Right.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah, interesting. Okay, so another song got skipped.
What in the world is going on?
I don't know. It's kind of annoying me. Now I need to find a song to play real quick because Smash Mouth.
You should try Bohemian Rhapsody.
I'm gonna queue up a couple just in case these stupid things get skipped.
I have this too. I'm gonna send you this. I was kind of taking notes on this to talk about, and then I realized it's really just a list. You know how we love those?
Yeah.
But it's about
19 trillion, 19 billion, 641 million now, by the way.
Rain Man, I need you to move on from that so that we can have a show that doesn't suck.
Well, that's unfair.
Having a show that doesn't suck?
Our national debt is a very important issue.
Okay,
it's Tuesday, and I'm supposed to have 8 fish sticks, not 4.
Exactly. Cut them in half. You perseverating on it isn't helping.
Whoa! What was that big word?
Getting stuck on it?
No, what was the word?
Perseverate.
Nice.
Yeah. It's like
I like that word.
comes from the same as like persevere, to stick with. Perseverate.
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 I am so going to try and fit that into a sentence tomorrow at work.
You're going to perseverate on the word perseverate until you use it in a sentence.
I am.
Alex, did you see the other article on
I'm reading now.
giving your boo your password is dumb, do this instead?
Mm-hmm. And don't freak out, commitment phobes.
What is a boo?
Boo, like your significant other.
Okay.
Your honey thing. Your bae.
Yeah, sharing passwords like that, I think, is stupid.
But this is, so this is, wait, you mean like this?
With sharing passwords with like your significant other, I think it's a stupid idea, and will just ruin
Right.
relationships.
So
I mean, it should only occur after marriage.
Even then, why would it need to?
Because then because then you're in for a penny and for a pound, right? So
I mean, you either trust the person or you don't trust the person, right? I mean, theoretically, she can be looking over your shoulder and watching what you're doing anyway. But you should both have unique passwords to everything and not share them because of the security risk. If let's say let's say as a couple you've decided, oh, we don't trust each other enough to have unique passwords, so we're going to share the same password for everything so that we can check up on each other at any given time.
No, that's ridiculous. It's not like.
And if that one password gets hacked, you've just lost security on everything.
I don't think that's the shared password thing. It's like, getting into my Netflix account.
Terrorists get hold of your missus and take bolt cutters and have them up against
terrorists are getting hold of your Netflix password.
They have them on her ring finger, and they're like, "Give us your husband's Facebook password."
So this article is about
if she knows that she's rolling over on you.
Different streaming or different. Like, I don't even know. How would you describe, like, what are these? Like Amazon and Netflix and those that let you each have your own password but access to the services.
Okay. All right, let's take it to the extreme.
Dude, you're arguing. That's not even what this is about.
I think it's a bad idea.
It says don't give them your password.
Right. Well, that's brilliant. I agree with that. But didn't you just disagree with me there?
I don't care. I mean, I don't know. What are you arguing about?
I'm just saying. I'm giving my opinion. I don't think anyone should share passwords with their.
Okay. Okay.
Or even for that matter, on a family level.
You just want to argue.
Let's
argue about something that matters. I don't give a fuck about giving out passwords.
One person should have the password.
Yeah, I can attest to that because I'm pretty sure I know 90% of Danielle's passwords.
You know all of them.
Let's hope nobody gets hold of him. Let's hope nobody gets hold of him with a pair of bolt cutters then. Because then all your secrets are gone.
I love that you think that I'm that important.
It's not okay. Then I'm going to take it to the extreme. Let's say that the president sets up family passwords with his wife and kids, and somebody gets hold of the kids. They then have access to his passwords.
Can we be serious for a minute?
Yeah, that's protected under
this article right here. This giving your boo your password is dumb. Do this instead. Do you want to talk about any of this?
We can talk about it, but I'm going to tell people it's a stupid idea.
But you don't.
Anybody any password under any circumstances.
Alex, this is how to share like streaming services without giving out your password.
Don't do it.
Don't do what?
They'll mess up your queue.
I got like 5 people sharing my streaming service.
Alex, did you eat dinner?
No.
Uh-huh. I can't tell at all. You are not hangry a bit.
I think he needs a Snickers.
We can talk about it. I'm just getting you annoyed. Don't worry.
God damn.
I'm just getting you annoyed.
You
We'll be
need a
back.
Snickers.
I
No,
have your
You're-
Amazon password, bitch.
I know. I think there are.
becoming a-
I think obviously for important passwords like your
Right.
bank account and things like that, then it's a bad idea.
Right.
But yeah, for Netflix and Hulu and
Well, but there are some of these, like I think it's Spotify, where one person is the account administrator and then the other people sign up underneath them. So
Yeah.
say, like, I'm the account administrator and, like, my next ex-boyfriend signs up underneath me, then once we break up, I just knock him off. Then he don't have access to Spotify anymore.
yes, and this is what I was saying about they'll mess up your playlist, right?
Right.
The reason Netflix works is because it lets you set up individual accounts under the same username and password. You can also have individual accounts,
Right.
So that people aren't throwing junk into your queue.
Right.
And that's how Hulu works. If you ever share a password with somebody on Hulu, there are no individual account sections, so your queue gets filled up with all their junk.
And I do on Hulu, which doesn't bother me unless somebody else and I are watching the same series. So
Yeah,
then,
because then it marks something as watched, and when you never watched it.
Right. So then I just, I mean, I've kind of moved beyond it and realized that I just have to know what episode I'm on. But
That was the piss out of me. 19,646 million dollars.
Wow.
So I accidentally
not gonna let
gauged my
this go.
ear, and oh my god, it's killing me.
Oh,
The kitties are wearing me out.
Siri's trying to talk to me.
Who is?
Siri, I guess
Oh.
my watch got activated.
So well, I just dropped my iPad.
Keith just fell over.
Dave
Oh,
had
it's amazing.
posted about 30. I have to get closer to the TV because I'm old.
We're back live in 7 seconds.
35% of our debt is owed to foreign nations. China,
Yeah.
7.2. Japan, 7.
All right, Keith, we're going back. We're going back live. Hold on.
All right.
All right, we're back. All right, Keith is answering a question from a viewer, actually. So go ahead, Keith. Go ahead and do that.
So we were talking on the break about our national debt, and Al, what's our national debt like right this moment?
19,647,600,000.
How many cents?
It's going up. It's going up at $20,000 a second, dude.
So
It's
it
hard
doesn't
to
list
say.
cents.
Yeah.
Okay. And so I asked who we owed that money to, and Dave has responded about 35% is owed to foreign nations. China 7.2%, Japan 7%, and 65% in treasury bonds and such.
Mhm.
So it sounds like to me we pretty much owe the money to ourselves.
Well, there's national debt and then there's public debt. So
yeah.
there are two different
And
things.
I'm like, if we owe it to ourselves, maybe we can just forgive it.
Yeah, and then there's unfunded liabilities, which are, I think, topping $200 trillion right now, and we won't even talk about those. All right, so Danielle forwarded me a story, two stories, actually. The first one, as you guys know, I'm a big proponent of unique passwords for every service, and I use a password manager. I use 1Password to manage all these. 1Password have launched, I guess, a new service, which I don't. Now I'm going to have to look into this, Danielle, to see if I'm even, as I've purchased 1Password, whether this even applies to me or whether I'm going to have to spend more money. Not that I have a family I'm going to share them with. But anyway, it's a shared family service. So.
You talk, I'll read down through the article and see what it says.
Okay.
So you explain it.
It's a shared family service which allows you to have individual accounts in addition to one shared account. So I guess theoretically you could have your, personal password, your bank account and your Facebook and whatnot in private, only accessible to you, and then anything you share, for example, your Apple Music password, which allows 5 people, your Netflix, which lets you set up family accounts for each family member. You could share passwords like those. I guess I see some utility to it. I'm not I'm not a huge fan of sharing. I will say this: any password you share, make sure it's for services that allow individual uh, accounts under. So Netflix, for example, lets you log in with one username and password, but once you've done that, you can set up other accounts. So you could set one up for mom and dad, you could set one up for the kids, and that way your playlist isn't getting cluttered up with junk from everybody else. So,
Yeah, Al, it looks like the product that we purchased, the outright like $45, $50 that we spent, is a different product.
okay.
This is a $5 per month for a family of 5 subscription,
Oh, okay.
which is similar to their business plan.
Yeah, interesting. I don't know that. See, here's the thing. On iOS and Android, once you've purchased the app, you can install that app onto, I believe, up to 8 devices. So if you've purchased it once and you use a share on the iPhone, if you use a family sharing Apple ID, then I believe 8 of your, maybe 5 of your family members can download that app and use it anyway. So in that case, I would avoid the monthly subscription and just do them individually.
So this says there are benefits to the subscription that parents may like. They'll be able to restore a child's access to their account should they lose their password to 1Password itself. They can also choose to share passwords, but prevent kids from editing them, ensuring that they won't be accidentally changed or deleted.
It makes sense, and it is only $5 a month, correct? There is no upfront purchase with this.
I believe that's true. Yes.
Okay, it's actually a shame that the upfront purchase excludes you from this, or still requires the monthly subscription. But I guess it makes sense.
Yeah, I think they're separate products. I'm not sure. I mean, I've only read this one article and read it briefly.
But like I said, the upfront purchase, it allows me, I believe, to install it on 5 desktops, and of course, if I bought it from the App Store, I could put it on 5 or possibly 8 phones anyway. So, not really a big deal to me. However, it leads into the other article that you sent me that was now, I haven't read the whole thing. I started to go through it, but the title is "Giving Your Boo Your Password is Dumb. Do This Instead." I haven't gotten to the "do this instead" part. What are they suggesting?
Well, it's talking about different, essentially, for the most part, different streaming services that allow you to, I'm in the article and it's freaking me out that I can't see you, that allow you to set up, shut up, Keith. Allow you to set up like family groups or plans where you can be on it with multiple people, so you can share access to your stuff without having to give them your password. Like Alex, go ahead.
Okay, yeah. In fact, one of the examples they're giving here is family sharing on Apple on the iCloud.
Yep.
Yes. Yeah, and I am a big proponent of that, and I'll tell you why. Now, if I had a family, or at least, a local family.
Friends that you really liked or something.
Yeah. Apple Music, for example, is, for me, it's $10 a month for an individual. However, for $15 a month, you can set up family sharing and have up to 5 people using Apple Music. So it works out to $3 each per month instead of the $10 that I'm paying.
Right. And we've talked about Netflix allows or doesn't fight people sharing their accounts. You and I are together on an Amazon account.
Yes.
And we've talked in the past about how boring lists are. So I've linked this article on my Tech Danielle, and I'll send it to you too, or you can. Well, you've got it now. You can throw it up on the Tech Talk page if you want to. So people
can. A list of services that support like individual logons or something?
Yeah, where people can go in and set up groups where they can share access under one account, or where multiple users under like one group, it reduces the price. Like instead of paying, I don't know, $5 each.
Yeah,
Spotify is another one that.
But without affecting the other people. So, for example, under Netflix, I have the main login, and then you can set up individual accounts for playlists and watch things like that inside of there.
Right.
Which I wish Hulu offered. Hulu does not offer that.
Right. And like I think Spotify, you kind of pulls everybody's music together. I think, or it might have. I don't know. I think it gives you access to each other's music.
Yeah, I'm not sure how that works. I know Stephen and Briley were both using Spotify, and they just made the switch to Apple Music. Right now, Stephen's paying for both services while he tries to. He calls it moving his music over, even though he's not. All he's trying to do is replicate his playlists in Apple Music.
Right.
So they match what he was using in Spotify, but they were on the family plan in Spotify, so they had their one login, but their own individual set of playlists, and the same thing on Apple Music. They're under a family plan, so they have one login and their individual sets of music in that new ecosystem.
Right.
And that does make sense to me. I do like that.
Yeah. Yeah, Spotify is the one where you can have up to 5, I think, but one person is the admin. So if that one person gets pissed off at any of the other 4, she can kick them out. They no longer have access to whatever it is they had in their Spotify.
Yeah.
So
now I'm going to go back to why, and I'm sorry.
Go on.
It's going dark.
Go ahead.
Any important passwords, don't share them with anybody. Don't, things like that are fine. But
except your boo.
Don't even share them with your boo.
Don't share passwords with
and
your
this
boo.
is why. Let's say your boo knows your bank. Let's say your boo knows your bank password. And somebody kidnaps your boo and starts clipping off fingers until she gives it up, and she's gonna give it up. You've then lost your security.
And your boo.
Well, she lost
and her fingers, which could be important.
Back. You might get her back, but I mean, come on, you suck it up. Lose a couple of fingers. The less you know, the better. Just saying.
I'm not going to be part of this conversation again.
All right, well, we're done with that. We're up to $19,655,000,000. So it's gone up. What was it? We were at 47, so it's gone up $7 million in like 5 minutes. That's our national debt. Oh shoot! Now my keyboard's dead again. Here we go. It's a Bluetooth keyboard, and it constantly. I guess it's Apple's implementation for Bluetooth keyboards, and it will disconnect them after like 5 minutes of inactivity. It's quite annoying.
That is annoying.
Yeah, I wouldn't consider that a keyboard.
Yeah, I wish there were an option to keep it always connected, and I would sacrifice battery life for that, but
I mean, it's a keyboard.
Apple will not do it. All right, speaking of Apple, while we're on the subject, there's a bug in iOS.
Yes, I saw that.
Yeah, that's if you set your date to January 1st, 1970, it will brick your phone. And I've seen 2 accounts of this. The first account I saw said that there is no recovering from it. Even Apple have no way of recovering your device from it. And I heard another report that said just go to the Genius Bar and they'll take care of you. So at this point, I don't really know if there is a resolution. However, some bright spark is sending a picture around Facebook, a meme, and they're selling this bug as a feature. And it's like, oh, Apple was founded in 1970, which isn't true. It was founded in 1976. They was founded in 1970, and if you set your date to 1970, you'll see a big Easter egg surprise from Apple built into your operating system, just trying to get people to set the date back to brick their devices. Don't do it. Don't fall for it. There's no Easter egg. There's no surprise.
Oh, there's a surprise.
Yeah, there's a surprise. It's not the kind you want. There are no dancing apples
It's
across
an
the
evil
screen.
Easter egg.
There's no hidden Space Invaders game. It's just a trick to get you to brick your device and have to come out of pocket hundreds more dollars to replace it. So don't do it. Now, my question is, who found this bug and how did they find it?
Yeah.
Were they just randomly entering dates? And now I have a theory that is possibly as far back as the calendar goes on the iPhone. You know, that if you keep scrolling, change the date and keep scrolling back. I have a theory that January 1st, 1970 is as far back as it goes. They found it that
So
way.
I do have some input into that.
Okay.
Epoch, as far as Unix systems, was December 31st, 1969. So 01/01/70 would be the first day after Epoch.
Okay, and iOS is Unix based, so I imagine that is the very first. That's probably the earliest date you can set your phone to.
What the hell kind of nerd shit are you two talking?
All right, Danielle.
I don't even know what just happened.
EPOCH. It's Epoch.
Okay.
So now you can Google it and
Okay, thank you.
learn everything you want to know about Epoch.
Okay.
Yeah, and so iOS being Unix based, I imagine that's their very first date. So I was picturing some guy just sitting on his couch randomly picking dates, going, what does this do? Oh, nothing. What does this do?
Effectively, you're setting the date to 0.
Well, hang on. Isn't the quote bug? I mean, isn't it something somebody wrote?
No, it's just it's a bug in the code.
Oh, it's a glitch.
Yeah.
Oh, see, I assumed it was like a nefarious program somebody wrote. So of course they put something out there to have somebody go and do it.
Oh yeah, no, it's just a bug in the OS that was discovered and
essentially you're setting your date back to null or 0.
Okay.
Like the Millennium bug earlier.
And the machine goes, I don't know how to deal with this.
I don't know what that is. Gotcha. Okay. Yeah. All right, I'm back. That makes sense now.
Yeah, and apparently it's unrecoverable, so do not try this at home. You have been warned. Danielle, the first thing she's going to do is go grab her iPad and set it back to 1970.
I'm not.
Or at least Kurt.
Oh, come on. You always do this. You always, when something comes up, you got to test it to see
I was going to say, I'm not going to lie, I do want to go and look at the calendar and see how far back it'll go.
There you go. And I want to, but I'm worried that just scrolling to that date is going to destroy my new phone. And I'm not willing to take the risk.
I have an old iPhone in here somewhere. I just got to find it.
I have a 5C that I just got unlocked. Because
they would all be the same, right? I've got like a 4 or something.
I can't believe I'm sitting here thinking I'm going to try this.
After you made fun of me for thinking it.
Yeah, I am not going to try it. I'm sorry. So Twitter, last week I talked about the changes to the timeline and that Jack Dempsey, or Dorsey, whatever the hell his name is, he came out on the CEO of Twitter came out on Twitter and said, oh, no, we're not doing that. Nothing's going to change. Well, it is going to change. They're going to be doing a algorithmic timeline, and it's not going to be your entire timeline. It's just going to be, I believe they've said, the first 12 or so tweets when you open the app. And then after those tweets, it goes back into your chronological timeline. Oh, my God.
Hey, Diamond Dave signing off. Tell him good night. Night, Dave.
Good night, Dave. Thanks for watching, brother. After the first 12 tweets or so, it will go back to your algorithmic timeline. However, they said nothing about the ability to turn this off. So right now they have this awful while you were away feature, which when you open the app, puts up 4 or 5 tweets at the beginning that could have been from a day ago or a couple of hours ago, whatever they think is interesting to you. I always dismiss it, and it brings a pop-up that says, do you like this feature? And I always say no, and yet every time I go back to the damn app, it's right there. I've said no 50 times, guys. Get the message. I don't like this feature. Turn it off. But they won't. But now they're going to expand on that, and they're going to add it to your timeline after coming out and saying, no, nothing's going to change. We're not going to do this to you. It's exactly what they're going to do. I suppose, 12 tweets at the beginning of 12 tweets at the beginning of your feed when you first open the app isn't the end of the world, but it's enough to annoy me. I'm easily annoyed.
I agree. And when does it stop? I mean, do they decide to?
Yeah, I mean, when does
do they decide to do what Facebook did, which is every time I want to go into my timeline, I have to go in and find it and go most recent.
Exactly. That's the way I see it going. Because Facebook.
And it's annoying as shit, but it's a free service, so I can't complain about it.
Exactly. Facebook, when they brought out their algorithmic feed, gave you the option to disable it and go back to just view the news feed chronologically, and they've removed that option from. Now you have to dig deeper into the app to find the most recent feed. Which I now have bookmarked as a favorite, so I can just click on it and jump straight to it. So I actually found a way around that. I don't know if there will be a way around it in Twitter, but it really kind of annoys me because, I don't know, right now it's 12. What happens when it's the first 200? I don't know. I
asked last week, why is that beneficial to Facebook and Twitter?
Yeah, I don't know why it would ever be beneficial to Twitter, because most people use Twitter for its instant response, its instant feed. I get breaking news over Twitter, right? And I have alerts set up. I have alerts set up for certain accounts. And I'll open the app randomly through the day and go through, say, the first 50 or so just to see what I've missed, because they're right there and it's instant and it's always faster than they get it up on the web, on their pages, for example. I get alerts from the sheriff on Twitter before anything is ever posted to Facebook, and I don't know. I don't know how this is a feature. Twitter will argue it's a way to attract new users because I guess their user base has stalled. But how does this possibly attract new users? We're going to show you old news. No, your selling point should be you get the news you want instantly the second it happens. It shouldn't be, we're going to
the latest and greatest of information on the people you follow.
Yeah, I mean, if you're just going to be a mimic, if you're just going to mimic Facebook, what's the point? I'll turn you off and use Facebook. I don't know. Yeah. It irritates me a lot because I like Twitter. I've used it from almost day one. Well, I've used Twitter from day one. It was Friendstalker prior to that. And it's annoying. It bothers me. Twitter works. It works really well. Don't break it. Don't mess with it. Don't screw up my feed, Jack. Anyway, we're at the end of the show here, fellas. Anything else quickly before we wrap it up?
Oh my gosh, no. That's all I got.
I had one other quick thing.
Okay, go ahead.
So apparently jebbush.com forwards to Donald Trump's website.
What?
I know.
Yeah, I saw this.
So I did some digging today. jebbush.com was registered in 1997 and originally pointed to a blogspot site. It was never officially registered to Jeb Bush. Jeb's actual site is jeb2016.com, but he apparently failed to register his own name on the internet, which is, I mean, you should do that.
Yeah, I think that's ridiculous. Mine's registered, alexmcdonald.net. I know ufkeithbergen.com.
Of course.
I don't know if Danielle has her own domain.
Yeah. So I mean, I thought it was funny. Back in December, it switched over to Donald Trump's website.
Yeah, it's fantastic. Yeah, it
It's
links
brilliant.
forward straight to realdonaldtrump.com or whatever the hell it's called.
Yep.
No,
Yep.
Donald
Yep.
J. Trump
Oh,
or something like that. Yeah, I saw
yeah.
it. I thought it was classic.
Yeah.
And that's like the best trolling you could do. Is
That's
stealing someone's
vicious.
domain. However, here's the thing, and under ICANN rules, all Jeb Bush would have to do is file a report, and ICANN would hand the domain over to him.
Yeah.
It's actually his name, and he's in the public eye. So they would hand that domain over to him if he made a fuss. I don't think
Yeah.
he's going to make a fuss because it just gives the attention back to Donald.
Right.
Exactly. Exactly.
Why is Donald Trump after Jeb Bush? I don't get it.
You know what? He probably went after all the candidates, and this is the one that didn't register his domain.
It's because people. I think it's because people have paid way too much attention to Iowa and New Hampshire, and in the grand scheme of things, that caucus and that primary are. Oh wow, Danny, you're in the video twice.
I'm back. I fell out.
Oh, okay. That caucus and primary are kind of irrelevant when it comes to the whole nomination process. So now that we're moving into the more, let's say, normal states, Jeb Bush is going to start to do a lot better, and Donald Trump is just getting a jump on the game. That's all.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
I just think it's a dig. To Donald Trump, that's a dig.
Oh, of course. I mean,
You know.
yeah. I mean, to Donald Trump, that's trolling, and Trump loves that kind of thing. And I have to admit, it is funny. When I read it
It's
today,
funny as hell.
yeah, when I read it today, I went to Greg, our IT guy, and I said, "Guess who forgot to register his domain?" and it's now forwarded into DonaldTrump.com or whatever. And he thought it was quite funny too. All right, we're gonna wrap this up. Everybody's gonna say goodnight.
All right. Take care.
Thank you, Keith. Appreciate it. Thanks for coming on. Danny, always a
yes.
pleasure.
Thank you. Night, everybody.
I'm sorry I
Bye.
annoyed you so much.
Do what?
I apologize for annoying you so
Oh,
much.
that's okay. It's all in good fun.
You know you're a genius.
Her small brain can handle it.
Yes. I don't have much room in my small brain for annoyance, so
Efficient brain, though, remember.
All right. We'll be good.
Highly efficient. I appreciate you guys coming on. Everybody listening or watching, and anybody that watches the replay, thank you. We appreciate it. Don't forget to tune in next week when I have Senator Janice Van Ness and Bill Funderburk, who is the president of the Georgia, oh Christ, the GSFA. It's part of SFATA, so I always get these mixed up. The GSFA, which is the Georgia Smoke-Free Alternative, whatever, Association. I'm brain dying here because I haven't eaten. But they'll be on next week talking about House Bill 907, and hopefully we'll, I don't know, let's kill a bill. Ooh, I'm going to use that in the tagline for the show. Let's kill a bill, and see if I get taken down by YouTube for some kind of Tarantino copyright
violence.
Yes.
Yeah.
Terroristic threat.
I'm really looking forward to that, and hopefully we can do some good, save some lives, and in my opinion, it literally is saving lives. Getting people off of tobacco, getting them off of tobacco and onto a harm reduction product is saving lives. So I thank you, Senator Van Ness, for agreeing to come on. You're doing what a lot of people in public health will refuse to do. And it shows real leadership, if you ask me. And, of course, Bill, I look forward to meeting him. I've spoken to him a couple of times on the phone. I consider him a new friend. We both fight for the same cause. He obviously does a lot more than I do. This man is busy fighting to protect our health and protect our rights, and I truly appreciate it. Everybody, thank you again for listening. Tune in next week. Tune in for the morning show tomorrow, and hopefully the World According to Mike tomorrow night at 7. That's always a good show. Good for a laugh. And until then, we are gone. Good night, guys.
Night, y'all.
Good night.
And auto. And now I need to delete the stuff that Scott had added. All right, that should be it. Back to normal. All right, guys. Thank you. I appreciate it. It got a bit hairy there for a minute. Oh God, tiny little.
Well, just Danielle and her small head.
Yeah. Danielle, seriously, I hope you know I'm just being.
Of course I do, Alex. Don't be ridiculous. You and your tiny little head.
I know it's
No, I'm sorry. Big head, small brain.
That's right.
My bad.
All right, I'm going to stop the YouTube broadcast. Good night, everybody. Thank you for watching.
Good night.